Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Bean Cells podcast. You are here with
Sales
Manny.
podcast.
You're Manny and the man Sean. How you doing, man?
I'm all good. There's not much else to say.
No. Excellent. It's been it's been another week in the midst of lockdown. I don't have much to say either, apart from the fact that
Almost out of it.
doing.
Almost out of it.
No. Well, we finally have our due date of getting out of it, which is lovely. A little ray of sunshine. I mean, I don't hold out too much hope that it'll be exactly that, but you know, we have the light at the end of the tunnel, so to speak. So screw it, man. It's all been good. I've been easing my pains and my troubles with lots and lots of the band that we are covering today. And just in case our audience can't read and they haven't seen the title, which band are we doing a discography ranking of today?
Can I just say, if you didn't read the title, didn't see the end of the episode, and if you knew it was my choice, your thought was going to be fucking Caldecap. You silly sausages, you. Now we're talking about Trivium, because I love this band for like a year. So yeah, Trivium, if you can't read, Trivium.
Trivium for all the people out there that have reading difficulties. We are covering the
Or maybe they're just blind.
Or maybe this is a primarily audio format. I mean, they don't have to look at our ugly mugs, which is a saving grace at least. But but yeah, we're covering Trivium, the famed sort of thrash metalcore crossover band who sort of came to prominence in the noughties, along with they got. But now we'll definitely get into whether this was fair or not. But they definitely got lumped in with like a lot of the other big sort of metalcore bands at the time, like Bullet for My Valentine, Avenged Sevenfold, Unearth. I don't know, but yeah, a lot of those like the sort of the bands that were bringing back heavy metal with a bit of a hardcore influence, and there was a lot of this stuff going on. When I was like first getting into metal, it was kind of like the hot new thing, and I've got to say,
it was how I got into metal as well. So
yeah, exactly. Like, so this was basically your first metal band, wasn't it, more or less?
Yeah, I started with like Slipknot, but then after I went on to Avenged Sevenfold, but Trivium, like you said in the first episode, they're like way more metal than what those guys were fucking doing.
Yeah, no,
especially
for sure.
On some of their other albums.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's definitely interesting because I was wanting to get to the fact I don't necessarily think it's that fair that they just got lumped in with those. They definitely have a lot of that within their sound, for sure. Like you can hear a lot of like elements where it almost sounds a little bit like post-hardcore in the guitars occasionally, and there's breakdowns, and it's got some of the vocal inflections. But to me, to my ears, Trivium were always mainly influenced, particularly by like classic thrash, and a lot of like old school heavy metal played a lot of parts. Like, dude, like no, I don't think many of these
very influenced by Metallica at one point.
Yes, Metallica's always been a huge point of influence for sure for that band. You can tell like within the vocal inflections of Hefty himself, like the riffs, like Metallica's definitely a huge starting point. But there's a lot of melodic death metal, a lot more so than like a lot of other metalcore bands that are influenced by that. They got a lot more into that. There's a lot of there's like a point it even gets a little bit death metal later on. Like there's lots and lots of little bits and pieces around the metal.
Some points it gets black metal as well, because Hefty's a big black metal fan. He loves collecting black metal shit. He's a huge fan of I don't know how you say his name, Isaon from Emperor.
Ishan, yeah, from Emperor.
That guy.
Yeah, no,
yeah, he's a huge fan of that guy. So like he's really into black metal. So there's some parts where it gets fairly black metal. But yeah, it's fair to say that their earlier effort, especially, is like very based in metalcore. But you can definitely hear some like thrash style riffing from inside there. And especially from like a guy like Corey Buliel, who's the second guitarist, who did not write on the first album, which we'll get into.
Yeah.
But he's like, his favorite band was like Megadeth for like a good while. So definitely like the big four of thrash was really used in this band. And a good thing to note is that they said they want to be heavier than all the melodic bands and more melodic than all the heavy bands. And I'd say they sort of achieved it.
I say so. It definitely does have a lot more like melodically in common with than with I don't know, like a lot of yeah, like it definitely has take some cues from like both classic and more modern sort of metalcore stuff at the same time melodically, but at the same like later on they definitely started playing a lot more heavy. Like after the Crusade, especially things start getting when they go heavy, it's like proper. Like they let loose a lot, but at the same time they still have like really like the vocal melody is always there. You know what I mean? Which is something I really appreciate. After having done Morbid Angel as the last like discography ranking, where you know this is we're talking about a death metal band, it was nice to have like, oh wow, vocal melodies and hooks, like and you know I do appreciate that as much as we do like caveman death
Parts
metal
that
and
sound
black
pleasing
metal
to
and
the ear,
yeah, like oh man,
and that aren't just
choruses that
noise
I
according
can
to that one
remember
fucking guy.
after I've finished listening. Like, that's one thing that I've got to say.
Yeah, the Morbid Angel one was hard because lots of it ends up blowing over your head because it's just like double bass all the time and shit, and it's just like the same relentless type of vocal. So lots of death metal does end up blowing over your head. Not saying that it's bad. I fucking love death metal, obviously, but you know.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, for sure, it's nice because like I actually ended up getting a lot of these choruses stuck in my head. Like even like past the point of me listening to it, I was walking around Tesco. Like getting groceries the other day, just going like from Ember to Inferno.
Yeah,
Like,
that From Ember to Inferno fucking part's so catchy. I will admit that fucking part's really catchy.
yes, it is mad catchy. So, which I actually think is a perfect segue to start getting into the discography. And of course, we start off with 2003's Ember to Inferno. Now, I actually had never heard this album before doing this, which was a shock to you. So I was like I
love
knew
this
of it.
album.
Say again.
Yeah, I love this album, so I don't know why lots of people didn't check it out. One thing is when AB Initio came out, which has all like demos and stuff on it.
Yeah.
That's people thought this was a new thing, but no, it's just a whole re-release of the Ember to Inferno tracks, which I think are some really fucking stellar tracks, considering, and we need to preface this, is that Matt was only 17 when he wrote this, and Matt was the sole writer of this band at this point. Like Corey wasn't in the band, Paolo wasn't in the band. I'm pretty sure the only like original member was Travis, the drummer. He's no longer in the band and hasn't been for a while. So yeah, he's been the sole writer for a good fucking amount of time. Like on that first album, and you listen to it and you're like, a fucking 17-year-old made this? Nah, fuck you.
No, there were a few moments because you told me that like when we were sort of talking about it or like over Messenger, and just like yeah, he was 17 when he wrote this album, and I'm listening to some of these solos and just going, fuck off. People aren't allowed to be this talented that young. Like,
dude, it's not just the fucking solos though. The riffs are like, what the fuck is this, man? Shit. Like, I mean, first track, right? Pillars of Serpents. That's like a very like more probably the heaviest one on the track. It's got a fucking breakdown in it. I mean, when they play it live, they do the fucking ting ting that lots of the like deathcore, metalcore bands do before it goes into the.
I'm a fan of that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a fan of this whole song, and I remember I learned the riff to that. That fucking like chromatic sort of octaves he does. And I'm like, man, I wish I fucking wrote this riff. It's so good. And he just had a great mind for writing riffs at such a young age as well. It's it's insane.
Yeah, I mean,
there's one song for you.
I mean, like when sort of putting this, like doing the ranking for it, like I was kind of at a loss of like, do I put this up against the rest of the discography, or do I like put this up against all like debut albums written by like teenagers? And obviously there's a bit of both in where I've ended up putting it, but yeah, I like the fact that this was written by someone so young is nuts, because like you're like already you've got like I've obviously talked about the solos, man, like there's some ridiculous ones, but even like melodically speaking, like there's some really catchy choruses on this as well. Like some of the vocal melodies are sticky, and like it can't be understated how hard it is to write vocal melodies that will stick in your head, that are like catchy and enjoyable to sing along to. That's like something that they hire like songwriters for. And some of the choruses on this record are legitimately brilliant. Like I'm not even fucking joking, right? I've been listening to all of these albums. And from An Ember to Inferno, the title track, that fucking chorus has not left my head for like the whole week that I've been listening to these albums. So yeah, that's definitely a highlight for me. I mean, what else stands out about it for a debut from such a young band to you?
What else stands out about it from being such a debut, man? I don't know.
Yeah.
Fucking, I mean, the drums, like the
Mm.
patterns that he's doing aren't this fucking simplest, but at the same time, I think Travis was about 19 or 20 at this time, because Matt was like, he joined the band when he was really young. He was like 12 or 13 when they were like 15, 16-year-old kids when he joined Trivium. And he
Yeah.
ended up like being the best member out of this band. Who thought that he was just gonna be some dumb kid in office apparently. So he strolled in and he played For Whom the Bell Tolls so fucking
Yes.
well that the guys were like, they just didn't know what the fuck to say. Because like, I mean, they thought this kid, it was just this young kid who was gonna come in and play some fucking dumb shit, and they were giving him a hard time for it, and he just like blew them away from playing For Whom the Bell Tolls so fucking perfectly.
Yeah, right.
Important stuff to note about this album at the same time is off this first album, which was recorded on Life Force Records. Um, this album already got them like seen by Roadrunner Records. The song "If I Could Collapse the Masses," which is such a fucking good song. I mean,
Yeah, it
that
is.
fucking breakdown part in it.
Oh yeah,
Using those,
mate. I mean, I've discussed this with you, but not on the podcast. And I don't give a shit if this depletes metal points with any of the people watching. I do like metalcore a lot. Like when it's done properly,
yeah,
I am a big fan of the style. Like, I'm not a fan of all the bands in the genre by any stretch. It's not my favorite by any stretch,
like
but I
Bullet
do
from the
like a bit of
Valentine. All
metalcore. And
my
yeah,
homies
you
hate
know
that
that
album.
that panic chord like little beatdown section is it's a bit ruthless, isn't it? It's lovely.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that song, I'm pretty sure it was actually from a demo of that song. Or
Really?
maybe it was
Yeah.
like pulled from the album. I think it may have been pulled from the album, put on a cassette, and it was sent like a promotional magazine to Roadrunner Records. No, it wasn't sent to Roadrunner. Roadrunner managed to get their hands on it just randomly because obviously it's a new band and they're always looking to sign something new. And
Yeah.
Monty Connor, who is the guy who owns Roadrunner, listened to it and he then like mailed Trivium and he said, "Oh, you guys are really fucking good. I'm into this, but I'm gonna need to hear more. And if it's what I'm looking for, you guys are gonna get signed." So
And
before
to
we move into
Roadrunner,
that, is
who
there anything else you want to say on this album?
at that point in time, and still to this day to a point, but like at that point in time, like this was 2003. I mean, this was like post fucking like Kill Switch were on there if I'm not mistaken. Slipknot.
Fear
So you
Factory.
have all of these
Right.
gigantic names. So they are, at this point, I think they are probably the biggest label in like mainstream metal. At that point, I think that's
Yeah.
safe to say.
But yeah. So like that definitely was a fucking good thing. To talk about songs at the same time as well.
Mm,
We've got some fucking good tracks on here. I'm gonna talk about a few that I like.
go for it.
So we've already talked about quite a few, but I'll say what's it called? Falling to Grey. I know that one has got like more of like the edgy like fucking I'm fucking depleting in depression and everything I'm doing is not like what I could be doing. Which is what the song's about, obviously. But
Yeah,
I don't know,
yeah.
man. They're fucking just that intro part that do
Uh,
just that fucking solo alone is just so fucking good. And the melody during the chorus, it's
remind
so
me,
fucking catchy.
how does it go off the top?
Oh mate, do I wanna
Yes, I want to hear you do it.
wait, hold on. Now you've made me blank, honestly. To feel this over you. To
Oh
feel this
yeah,
pain with you. That one.
yeah. No, mate,
To feel
that is
this
another great
sound fall into grave. Yeah, that fucking chorus is so good, and it's catchy. And one of my favorite tracks on this is My Hatred, because holy shit,
Yes.
the song title couldn't fit it any better. It's so fucking chunky, and just that starting riff is like insanely good, and then afterwards you just have an extra few minutes of intense riffage, and then it pulls you over to the last song, which is When All Light Dies, right? Or is that like the outro track?
Is
I think it's
is
When All
that
Light
the
Dies.
one with the bit where he goes like, "I want to take your life"?
Yeah, that's When
Yeah,
All Light Dies.
yeah,
I
yeah,
want
yeah,
to
yeah.
take your life. Yeah, that fucking part.
Yeah, no, mate, that's
So
fucking
good.
sick. Yeah,
Yeah,
it is.
it's so fucking like I downloaded that on Clone Hero and I played it through, and that was only when the I want to take your life part clicked, and I was like, holy shit, that's like fucking so heavy when he does, and the officer just goes into this fucking mental breakdown. So yeah,
Oh, it's a lush, lads. I enjoy it.
and
Yeah.
then it winds up into the outro track, which is like a MIDI type track, isn't it? But it
Yeah,
has a long
and
part of like
the intro track is the outro track played backwards.
backwards. Is it? I
Yeah,
didn't
yeah,
even realize
yeah,
that. I didn't even
yeah.
realize that.
No,
Cool.
no. I mean, because I only know because when I was reading on Wikipedia, it said it, and I was
Oh
like,
right, yeah.
oh, that's kind of neat. You know, let things come full circle and all that. I always enjoy that when records do that.
No, I think it works well actually.
Yeah, it does
But yeah,
definitely.
is there any tracks you want to talk about?
I think you've actually gone over the ones which I've really like took as thing. Like, mate, the my favorite solo on the album is the one in Requiem because
Requiem.
it's like an old school Iron Maiden solo.
Yeah.
It's like massive Maiden vibes, and for a 17-year-old.
Oh, I know which one you're on about now. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know
It's
which
like
solo.
super melodic. Like this like for a 17-year-old to like, because it is extremely influenced by Maiden, but you can hear a bunch of fucking like young kids attempt to do Maiden-esque solos, and like funnily enough, they're quite hard. So
Yeah.
like a lot of
No, Maiden
times,
solos are insanely hard.
yeah,
There's
exactly. And
another Maiden part on the album in the song Ember to Inferno. There's that like quick little solo that they do where it's
oh yeah.
that's
It's so
fucking
catchy as
so
well.
that's so Maiden. Yeah. And then it just goes straight back. It stops for a second, and then you're straight back into the verse riff.
Yeah, no,
So yeah,
it is a
Ember
banger.
to
I mean, but
Inferno,
yeah,
fucking great album.
yeah, it is for a debut from a band who was so young. It's actually bonkers. Like, I was a little bit
And
floored by
written
how
by
good it
one
is.
guy who was 17. Like, for
Written by
fuck's sake,
one
you know?
guy. That's but absolutely mad. So yeah, what a fucking debut, man! And I'd never heard it before this point. So
Yeah.
I've got this podcast to thank for putting me onto it. But then, of course, past Ember to Inferno, we have what is definitely Trivium's breakout for sure, which is Ascendancy,
Ascendancy.
which like yeah, basically this was where I first knew about Trivium. So I'll give a
Yeah, this is the
little bit of
first
a
album I heard.
nostalgic look back on my history with this band initially. So when I was first getting into metal, Trivium were one of the bands who like kids a couple of years above me who were really cool liked. And I like
Yeah, it
at
was
that
too
point
thrashy
in
for you.
well, yeah, it was. I like because at that point I was just getting into like groove metal and like new metal, but the heavy side of new metal. So like at that point when I heard it, it was a bit like it was a bit thrashy and it had sort of a bit of a core edge to it. And at that point, I didn't like that stuff. Like my like taste in metal at that point was very narrow. Like I only like what I like, but. Mate, I can't stress to you enough how many kids were listening to Pull Harder on the Strings of Your Martyr. That was like
It's a good
around my
song.
school. That was one of the songs which kids used to send to each other using like infrared. Did you ever? Did you, I'm not. I'm making myself sound like a fossil now. It's essentially like Bluetooth, where you'd have to put the two phones up against each other to send it, right? And it was like literally kids used to infrared that song around to each other. So and I heard it, and so for me, listening to that song now is just I listen to it and I'm like I'm like 12 or 13 again, you know what I mean? But yeah, listening to the whole album, it is most certainly, I think, a step up in basically every regard, more or less. Like for me, as soon as you get to Rain, because we have the end of everything, which is sort of like a a decent sort of like an intro track.
Matt says that they I'm gonna blow him with some facts here.
Just go for it.
Before that, I'll continue the story of how they got signed to Roadrunner, because this album ties into it. Because if you could see, it's probably gonna be blurry as shit, but there is a Roadrunner label record here. So by their second album, they're already signed to not to Trivium, to Roadrunner. And how that happened was, like I said, Monty said, you guys aren't quite there yet, but I'm excited to see where you go. So they made a demo version of the song that we know as Light to the Flies.
Yeah.
And sent it to him. And he was like, this is what I'm looking for. And so he fucking immediately just signed him. And that demo version is way different to what the Ember to Inferno on this album sounds like. I don't know if you've heard the demo version of Ember to Inferno.
I can't say I have. How is it different?
Sorry. The demo version of Light to Flies. If you watch the music video that's on YouTube, you'll hear the demo version. It's different in like his vocals are obviously really different. I'd say the clean part, the part where he's this tragedy's like light to flies.
Yeah.
He's not so low. He does it in more of a whiny part where he's like, this tragedy's like light to flies. He does it in more like an emo type of singing. And it just sounds weird as shit, man. But no, it still has like that amazing solo section that you're used to, where it goes from Corey's super melodic part into Matt's really sweepy part and everything. But
definitely.
Moving on, we'll talk about songs afterwards. Back to the end of everything. Matt said that he wanted that to be sort of an intro to the album, which it is, and he wanted it to depict like an apocalyptic video game or movie entrance. And to me, End of Everything is unskippable. When I listen to this album, I have to listen to that intro track to be able to move into Rain, because it's such a fucking like brutal thing once you go from just that nice simple part where Matt just wrote that simple guitar part, and then the producer Jason Sukoff wrote the piano part, and then all of a sudden you just greet with and it's just like, fuck, okay, shit, we're kicking into first gear immediately.
Yeah, that to me is what really like sets that apart as a like a beginning like fucking offering, is the fact that just straight into it. There's no like, you get the build up and sort of the atmospheric piano thing of the intro, and then as soon as that track comes in, it's just a bit of a fucking assault in it. There's bare double bass. It's definitely heavier than anything that was on from Ember to Inferno. Because one of the things with Ember to Inferno is, for me, they hadn't quite developed the sharpness as a band or the speed as a band to be able to play heavy as well as they do here. And it's almost like, to me, it's almost like a fucking mission statement. It's like, it's deliberately like heavier immediately than anything on that point. It's heavier and more aggressive. Rain is one of their best opening tracks. I think it's fucking brilliant, man. I think Rain would probably rank up there as one of my favorite Trivium songs. Period.
For sure.
It's such a good opening track. It gets the fist clenching. Yes, it's one of those, isn't it? But then we move from there into Pull Hard on the Strings of Your Martyr, which I am incapable of hearing without being overwhelmed by nostalgia, because it's so tied to a time and a place for me, even when I wasn't really a massive Trivium fan or anything like that. Like, that song was kind of omnipresent amongst kids who were older than me, who I kind of wanted to be as cool as, but definitely wasn't. But yeah, I think it's a good track when I look at it objectively, but I can't look at it objectively because it makes me go, oh, those were good times.
I'm surprised to make you go, oh. I'm not cool enough to listen to this or something like that. But no, it says it's good times. At least it's
No,
like
I'm definitely cool enough to
cool
listen
enough.
to it now. It's
If
fine.
I'm fucking cool enough to listen to this, you are definitely cool enough to listen to this, mate. Jesus.
Well, the Beanie Boys. No one
Yeah,
tells us
we
who
are the
isn't cool. But
Beanie
but
Boys.
then we get on to what I think is probably my favourite song on the album, which is "Drowned and Torn
Ooh.
Asunder." Oh mate, oh,
The
it's
melodic, dude, the fucking melodic part during the chorus that Corey lays over it is so
yeah.
fucking catchy. Just do 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 do.
And for me, like this is where you really start to see like that melodic element of the guitar playing just start to
Yeah, yeah.
really come to.
They definitely managed to blend what they wanted to have those super fucking heavy hitting parts and to have these
Mm.
really melodic, catchy fucking choruses,
Yeah,
and it just
yeah,
works.
absolutely.
It just works. And can we just say the solos on Ember? Yeah, they're already right here, but
Yeah.
now adding Corey into the mix, along with Matt's newfound like confidence, the solos like they're about fucking they're like here, man.
Yeah, I think
I
just in
showed you
every
that
regard, I
fucking
think the step up
sweep
is just
pick.
palpable. You know what I mean?
I Yeah, I showed you that fucking sweep tapping pick that fucking Matt does in in his solo in Paul Harder. So, but
Yeah,
if you know what a sweep pick is, right, it's just and it's really fast, just like raking. It's literally like you're sweeping your guitar, so you get like quite a few notes in a second. And after he does this thing, goes down, taps the neck, and then he slides the fucking tap, then lets go, and then sweeps back up. I showed you it, but I was just
yeah,
explaining to
yeah,
the people listening. But no, it's like, fuck me, dude. How can a 19-year-old write such like complex solos? But complexity is in everything because there's really melodic parts like on the song "Drowned and Torn Asunder." I'm pretty sure they like swap solos like 3 times or something, and some of them are technical and some of them are just like simple melodic passages.
And I mean, I love like solos, which are more just like simplistic but powerful. Like, but at the same time, like, yeah,
Yeah,
when they want to get their whittle on, good
yeah.
grief,
Also,
lad.
a good thing is that they're not just soloing for the sake of soloing. You know, they're not just fucking being like, oh yeah, look, I gonna wank on stage. No, they're fucking the solos actually have like a reason to be there.
Well, yeah,
Especially, I
they're
know I'm
being
skipping a few tracks,
songwriters.
but
You know what I mean? They're
yeah,
actually composing music as opposed to just going like,
I know
yeah, look how
I'm
many
skipping a few tracks
scales I can
forward here.
play.
Yeah,
Yeah,
skipping a few
exactly.
tracks forward here, but in Gunshots at Head of Trepidation, that
Yeah.
solo medley is just oh man, it goes from Corey to just entering with this fucking sick ass sounding sweet pick part, and then Matt
Yeah.
comes in with his wah pedal and shit, and then they do a dual solo, which is just incredibly melodic. And if you know the context of the song, which is about like um living in a bad household, whether that be from a parent or like another sibling or something. And
Yeah.
Matt says, because I listened to the commentary version of this album, so Matt explains each song, and he says he wanted this to be the shoulder of the crown, like kind of uh, the punching bag for the kids who are struggling with that. And I mean that solo just perfectly depicts it. Come on, like it starts out fucking chaotic, and it slowly starts to
Mm.
mellow out and become a positive sounding solo. And I think that's just songwriting geniusry. And it's the same on like so many of their fucking songs where it's just the solos have meaning.
Yeah, because that's the thing. Like anybody can just whack away at their fretboards, right? But like to actually
Kerry King.
transcribe sort of a narrative through music. I mean, that is where you start to become like an actual a musician, and that's not something that everyone can do. Not at all. It's a skill
No.
set which is very hard to acquire. I think you also have to be born with it a bit, and I do think, yeah, like after having listened to some of the solos for me, I mean, on this record, and I think all of their stuff, and we'll definitely get to that. But the solos are where Trivium really shines. Like there's just a
Yeah,
certain
the
certain
big
level of like
highlight.
thought
They're
that goes
always
into
they're
every
always
one
good.
of them. I think even on some of the albums I don't like there's some or well some of the albums I like less because there's no Trivium album I don't like actually. But then even on ones where I'm
There's
like,
no bad Trivium album.
no, there's no bad Trivium albums, but even on ones which I'm less keen on, there's some really good solos. But yes, that's really cool though. The fact that like because I didn't know that was the sort of the backstory of that particular song. I'm not. I must admit I did not look particularly deep on the old lyrics.
Every song on this album is about like a negative thing in the world, and that's why it's called Ascendancy. This is why I think it's a little bit weird that they put the track Ascendancy like somewhere in the middle of the album. Right, they have it at number 5, and there's 12. But each song on this album is like about a different negative thing. I mean, the end of everything, obviously, it's just an apocalyptic thing. Rain is what Matt was feeling at that time, and his like anxiety and stuff. I mean, the first line in the song is "Every time I'm left alone," and then I forgot the next line. Fuck. Every time I'm left alone.
Happens to the best of us.
So it's like every time I'm left alone, something about drowning, right? So already you can tell that it's not a good position.
Yeah, right.
Pull hard on the strings, your martyr. That's about like a dictatorship, and he says whether it's a politician, just a family member, just someone that's controlling you. And he in the song as well, as you can hear, if you read the lyrics, he swaps between this like dictator and the people trying to take him down. Like especially the main dictator part is the part where he's like, "You ask me why I'm God. No, you ask me God why, because I'm God. That's fucking why." And then off is like, it's just like, holy shit, man. I love that line.
That's
so
a
much.
nice little couplet. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then Drowned and Torn Asunder.
Banger.
I don't remember that one. I'm pretty sure it's just about once again taking down opposition. Ascendancy is cleaving yourself off of all this like negative stuff that you're going to be feeling. Gunshots
ascending above, yeah.
Yeah, that's why it says ascend above the ashes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Light to the Flies is one where it's about like tragedy and hypocrisy. He best describes it as when a car crash happens, people always look to it. No one ever looks away. And he says, I don't know why they do that. It's maybe they want to see something, maybe they don't. So it's hypocritical because we always say like you shouldn't be looking at bad things, but everyone fucking looks at something bad.
Yeah, it's part of the human condition, isn't it? It's like we're wired to like look for negative things in the world around us in the hope that we can avoid them. It's like an evolutionary kind of a response, and it's definitely something which I like examined in art. That like, and there's definitely a lot of that in metal, like just sort of like asking like, why do we like watching other people suffer? What are we getting out of this? And you know, like metal definitely plays on a lot of that stuff. You know what I mean? There's an exploration of that kind of thing for sure.
I'm just gonna continue going through all these fucking album titles.
Man, do it. You are the Trivium fan here. Like, give me an education.
I am. I was a huge fan for a year. Dying in Your Arms. That one's more about a relationship he had and said like when you're a teenager and you're in a relationship, according to him, that's all that you care about. And he realized afterwards that this was a bit of a toxic relationship. So Dying in Your Arms is kind of getting rid of that person, like the scream lyric in the song, which he literally just says, "So I cut you out," and then opposite goes into that fucking powerhouse of a solo. First Trivium solo I ever learned. First Trivium song I ever heard and learned as well.
Yeah, "Dying in Your Arms" is an interesting song actually, because I think that was a lot of the perception on Trivium that's unfair, I think, sort of came from that song, because like you sort of take the tone of that song,
really popular,
and the lyrics, and when it was released, I mean, it does come off as pretty emo, especially compared to like the other stuff on the album. Yeah, but that being said, like for what it is, looking at it objectively, I think it's really fucking good. If I compare this to like other songs which are similar, like I like, for example, and I'm biased because I fucking hate Bullet for My Valentine, but if you compare that to like Tears Don't Fall, which I think you can compare it to because it's sort of like a metalcore band doing
that's
a
fair.
softer song that gets bigger, right? Like, if I was to compare it to that, it's way fucking better. Like, am I biased? Yes. Should you maybe trust my opinion? I don't know. But the point is,
No.
like it's got a really good riff. I think the part of it which really sells it for me is like on like the pre-chorus bridge. I don't know what it is he says, but it's like to me, and he sells it. Like if I'm going to be listening to a song which is a bit angsty and a bit emotional, make me actually fucking believe that you're feeling that way, and it does do that very well. I think it's a well written tune, man. Like it's definitely the most simplistic one on the album. It's definitely like maybe a little bit wet for me to listen to all of the time. But that being said, it's I think it's a very good like version of that kind of thing.
Yeah, when they like put this song on the album, I'm pretty sure like people were gonna release it, and the producer were like, "This doesn't belong on the album." And Trivium really pushed for this song to be on the album. They thought it was a really good song. I mean, it's good for getting into Trivium because this is the first
definitely.
song. I mean, I already liked some heavy stuff, but I enjoyed this when I first heard it, and it still has fucking sick guitar parts.
It
And
does.
that's like the best part about Trivium.
Absolutely.
So like moving on, then offers you've got The Deceived, which is about the how a utopian society wouldn't work. That's why it says like we are the deceived. I know it's not that fucking lyric, but yeah, he says something about them like believing in a lie because they think a utopian society would work, but it obviously isn't going to work because no one's going to be on the same level without some sort of hierarchy and have everyone have a perfect life. It's fucking impossible.
Right.
But then offwards, moving on, we have Suffocating Sight, which is again more of a personal track. Also, can I just say, this fucking riff is gnarly as shit. Dude, this has like Matt's favorite thing to do. I think it's Matt that writes these parts. He likes to do this like what I call a chug triplet. Basically, so just a standard chug, just like that. So he goes da. So the normal trip is just and a chug's just da. And he likes to combine the two to go and that fucking kills your wrist because just straight chugging isn't too hard, straight triplets isn't too hard, but having to add that extra chug, then triplet, chug, then triplet, it's just like fuck you.
That kind of reminds me of like kind of gives me like a Fear Factory kind of like. There's a lot of that in like sort of like I love that stuff. It's like it's got the double bass kind of like assault, but it gives it a bit of a gallop as well. So it's good headbang material.
But I this one's more of a personal one. It's once again like about anxiety and shit like that.
Yeah,
done in a more metal fashion.
That's one of my favorite ones on the album, I think.
Yeah, that's my favorite track off the album. It's like really short as well. I mean, that chorus is just always stuck in my head. And then when they do the part where it's just the drums and bass and the vocals, that part's fucking excellent.
Yeah.
And then they push it up a tone, so they make it higher by 2 notes at the end of the song to end it off, which is they do that a lot, by the way. They do that a lot.
Yeah, no, there's certainly like a what like a key change. You mean? There's definitely
they change it by tone. It's the key change, yeah.
Yeah, no, they like the thing is as well is that usually I fucking hate key changes. Like I just usually hear them and go, oh, that's fucking cheddar.
Especially when it goes higher. It's it's a bit wet.
It's so wet. It's like the wettest thing possible. It just makes me think of fucking like boy bands, like going but they do it really well.
Yeah, on the next album, there's a fucking key change that I think is horrible. Anyways, we've got 2 more songs, people. I'll try and be fucking faster. You shut up.
I will.
The Departure is about like when Matt was thinking about committing suicide and stuff. And about this is like his note that he would have written, but he decided to write a song about it instead because then it turns the negativity into something positive. Which is his fucking thing for everything. He's always like on about, I cook my food, I do yoga, I play music, he works out and everything just to keep his mind off of everything. Because he didn't grow up in a bad household or anything, but he had a lot of like anxiety issues and stuff, especially because he had really fucking bad acne. That's like that was his
Yeah.
main issue. And obviously that fucking gets on you when you're a teen and you're trying to fucking be as cool as everyone else and look as good as everyone else. But yeah, no.
Mate, yeah, no, I don't miss that element of those days because it is.
Yeah, I don't really give a shit nowadays though.
No,
I mean,
good, good.
I wear a long sleeve that says I eat my own cum. So like, come on, man.
Yeah, you have balls the size of fucking craters, mate. Because I couldn't. God, but like fucking good on you
it's a
though,
fucking
mate.
power move. If you don't like wear it, like, oh yeah, look at me, fucking say something. But if you just wear it and you just casually walk around, you obviously get some looks. And you can feel the people looking at the back of it because that's where it is, and you can kind of feel when they realize, and it's like you're not gonna like swagger around and be like, yeah, fucking say something. You're just like, yeah, what you gonna do, man? It's a relief to be able to wear that shirt because it just makes me realize that, yeah, I kind of just haven't got that paranoia and anxiety I used to have, like in a grammar school, which is like the worst place to be.
People who are judgmental, like they're all thinking about what you think about them. Yeah. They're not thinking, and then everyone else doesn't care.
Usually, judgmental people and bullies and shit. It's because of they see something in you that they don't have, and obviously they're gonna rip the shit out of you because. But it's not always that. But sometimes it is because they see something in you that they don't have.
No, 100%. But and it is good to be able to take those kinds of anxieties and put them into art and music. 100%. You know,
that's like what I was mainly doing at first, but now because I literally just write lyrics about death metal stuff.
Man, it's all part of the same thing, I think, because like death metal lyrics,
it's still cathartic.
Death metal lyrics, I've always found, because I find death to be terrifying. So for me, it's sort of like I've got to admit, I find the idea of dying fucking really scary. I haven't gotten over it yet. So for me, it's almost like there's kind of like a similar kind of a thing with me, where like looking at such like obscenely like morbid stuff is almost like, I don't know, I think it gives you like a strengthening feeling. Yeah. It's an interesting process, man. I mean, I don't claim to understand it entirely, but it's certainly interesting. You know what I mean? And it's something I still find very appealing. But yeah, what's the final song on Ascendancy?
The final song is Declaration, which is about the most important message in metal. Obviously every fucking message is important, but this one, especially with what went on last year, very fucking important, is the acceptance of everyone. Just accepting, especially like in this one, no, it's on the next album that they have another song about acceptance, and they do it very, very literally. But here
I literally remember that exact chorus.
Yeah, the exact on the next album, yeah, he literally says the fucking words right to your face. But on the Ascendancy version, it's more poetic, and that fucking riff. Wait, I didn't even explain what I did explain what the premise was.
Yeah,
the acceptance of everyone, every race, sex, gender, and sexuality. That's what he says in the Ascendancy version. But that fucking like, because it starts out pretty melodic, right? It starts almost in a major key. I'm pretty sure it is in a major key, you know. It just stops all of a sudden, bow down, and then all of a sudden you just plunge into this chromatic C, because none of these notes are part of a fucking scale. It's just chugging on that top D string, because they play and drop D on this album, and just and it's just like, what the fuck? I wasn't expecting this. I thought this song was gonna be melodic as shit, but no, I'm in this fucking tag of like death thrash riff. What the fuck?
Yeah, boy.
And it's so sick. And on this album, he hasn't got proper screaming technique, but his screams on this album are fucking ruthless, and they shine through so well on this album. Because he just sounds pissed at you in his fucking words, a fucking bigot.
Yeah, his screaming on this album is proper sick. Like as much as I think he does the thing which a lot of metal vocalists do over the course of the career, where the screaming is never quite as raw again because
Yeah.
you can't go on tour screaming like that, because it obviously deteriorates your voice doing it repetitively over and over again. But what he does as time goes on is his singing gets so much better.
Yeah.
Like I do like his singing on like the debut is good. He can hold a note, but the
Yeah.
projection isn't
It's
there yet,
also
and
a
it's
little bit
improved
like,
here, but it's still not 100% there.
yeah.
But the
His singing on
screaming,
Ember was a little bit more like emo styled as well, because before
yeah,
metal he was into like pop punk and shit, so it's understandable why he kind of took that.
yeah, no, for sure. But like, and there's definitely an improvement here, but it's not like he hasn't got the enunciation or the
Yeah.
projection at this point. But
Dude,
he's always been
the
able to hold a
enunciation is
tune.
terrible. The amount of fucking lines on here that you miss here is something totally different. We should fucking do those all right now. I mean, I know your favorite, the main one off of Poor Harder.
Yeah, the misheard lyric videos for Trivium were fucking. I actually think that was probably the first metal meme I ever saw. Was like
Yeah.
back in the day, was like the YouTube video of where it was like the misheard lyrics, and obviously, yeah, bow, rudder, strange, mountain was. I mean, that's
Yeah.
iconic early YouTube
And
stuff.
in the fucking same song, there's just before the chorus kicks in, he says he says something. I used to know all these lyrics, and now they've all of a sudden blanked. I will say the misheard one as I look for the actual lyric. So
All right, cool.
what you miss here is lift up and we in this. So it sounds like he's fucking talking about just pissing in the toilet. Um, what's it? It's time that we end this.
Yeah.
So you can kind
I
of see
prefer the
how it's like,
misheard one.
yeah, everyone prefers the misheard one. And you said you heard something in
Oh
Suffocating
God.
Sight, didn't you? During the
Yeah.
just
It
like the
fully,
immersive ball sack, isn't it?
yeah, it's something the immersive ball sack. It fully sounds like
Yeah.
it really
Well,
does sound
what
like
he's
he has
saying, by the
that.
way, and this is just normal singing. He's not screaming here. He's actually singing. What he's saying is just like the embrace of arms that made you, but fucking Manny here is just like the immersive ball sack. It's
And,
excellent.
and I
The amount of like
unfortunately will hear
unilevel
that every
potential
time
of
I listen
Matt's
to that song.
enunciation. Okay.
Okay.
No, but like,
All right,
should we move on? We spent like half an hour.
Yeah, no. Let's keep a pace up before I fucking die of laughter. Let's keep a pace up. Okay, so then we move on to the Crusade, and I very, very specifically remember the reception that this album got on release. I do think we do need to talk about it.
Yep.
It was basic. I like didn't listen to the Crusade for a long time because everyone just went, yeah, they fucked it. Like I specifically remember everyone who was a fan of Trivium was just like, oh my god, they're just trying to be Metallica. They fucking it's nowhere
Metallica,
near as
yeah.
heavy. Oh, it's so lame. They're trying so hard to be Metallica. Oh, it's so not good. And so I just kind of went, oh, yeah, no, I think I'll take a pass on that. And I didn't listen to it for a very, very long time. And I just want to preface this with, mate, how fucking overhated is this album? How massively overhated
So overhated. By the way, here's the album. Anyway, just
Yes.
why some people said they're trying to be Metallica like. No, they're being fucking heavier than Metallica is. Fuck you. I hate people who say they're trying to be Metallica like. I honestly think just based off the first two songs, Ignition and Detonation, which have to be played together. No, that's way heavier than like 99% of things that Metallica's written.
The the thing is that the kind of bothers me about it quite a lot is that there's this sort of implication that this has just come out of nowhere. But the Metallica influence has always been there in Trivium.
like
And it's not like, to me, it doesn't sound like they've just gone, oh yeah, we're going to try and sound like Master of Puppets out of nowhere. It's like they've definitely brought forward the classic metal element a lot more than on Ascendancy. Whereas I'd say
mix sounds very like the mix is trying very hard to sound classic. And
but like to me, that's not like I don't consider that an issue for one thing. And to me, whereas like Ascendancy, I'd say is a metalcore album with an emphasis on the metal. The Crusade is almost like a proper like a thrash metal album with some metalcore influences.
Yeah.
So it's like. For me, like I just don't fucking see it as an issue. And to be honest with you, like mate, when that like Ignition and Detonation come in, like they're fucking brilliant. Like I'm literally listening to it for part of doing this.
So fucking good.
Yeah, no, I'm listening to it. I'm just like, mate, this is really, really good. So yeah, I love that like the fucking the double kickoff of Ignition and Detonation. I think is most excellent. And yeah, no, there's I think there's a big step up in terms of like cohesive songwriting here. Like while I've got to say, like I do kind of miss the less heavy elements, like because to me it's definitely not as like it's not as hard as Ascendancy is when it gets hard, and it's less fast. But the songwriting for me, I think it takes a big step up. And I kind of feel like mad that doesn't get talked about because it's just it's not fair. This is a really good record, man.
It is not fair. This is it's a fucking really good album. It has its defects, which we will talk about, but let's talk about the good shit first. Once again, Trivium, you're in for some fucking good solos. Their entire career is highlighted of fucking solo.
Yes.
And none of them are shit. They're all just, I wish I could rip a fucking solo like that. It's all that you think whenever you listen to it. But I think it's Ignition, right, that has the very, very, very obvious we need to accept people because it's just the chorus is like homophobia, racism, sexism. I fucking love it. I remember when I first heard this and I was like, that's just goofy. It's a little bit goofy.
It's a little bit, but at the same time, I do appreciate like putting your heart on your sleeve like that. And just sort of like taking a stand. Really good.
But no, the songwriting on here is so good because then after Ignition and Detonation, like you go on to Entrance of the Conflagration, right?
Yeah.
For those of you who do not know what that word means, it means a big fire, and that's it.
You learn something new every day. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I only learned that because obviously I was obsessed with them, and I wound up calling my band like something to do with conflagration, and they were just like, no, change it. None of us know what everyone that we talk to can't say it. That's not going to be good. So then we changed it. Anyway, this fucking song is fucked. First of all, just that normal riff. It's like, man, that's such a strong opener. And the fucking song that what? Hold on a second. I'm going too fast.
Slow, calm, my boy.
What the lyrics are written about is it's like a woman who got put in jail because she was like starting to lose her mind and she thought her kids were becoming Satan. So what she did was like she was self-harming herself every single day, and then afterwards at one point she ran a bath and drowned her 3 kids inside of the bath. And then obviously she got fucking arrested for that. And that's what the song's written about. So they've definitely done some fucking research. I mean, that's like a death metal song right there if you really drowning some kids.
Funnily enough, I should have looked a little bit deeper into the lyrics because one of the songs on here.
I just knew like every single one about common knowledge.
Yeah, no,
I know this off my fucking head.
I actually caught the some of the lyrics on Contemporary's Contamination. Because
Oh
there's
yeah, that one's. There's a lot of like anti-racist stuff on this album.
yeah, like but there's like I mean I only caught like bits listening to it, but there's like bits where he's talking about like finding bodies and they can't like sort of
Yeah,
they can't figure out
yeah,
who like they're sort of trying to bring justice
yeah.
to things.
What that
What's
one's.
that one about?
Yeah, I might as well talk about both, like the anti-racist ones. But we'll
Hmm.
talk about Contemporary's Contamination. Before I do, that intro riff is just oh. I tried to learn that and I just can't. It's fucking bleh. It's all over the place. But yeah, no. What it is I don't know like the cops' names and like the dude who got shot, his name. But what it was is story about like these cops who shot a black guy and they're trying to figure out why. And that's where the injustice part comes in because they're like, because throughout the entire song, he's like, oh, he must have a gun because they just fucking gunned him down. And then
Yeah.
he's like, and yet you get off with no time because there's no evidence to show why these guys would have shot just this random black dude. So it's very obvious that it's about like the like police in America being very racist because that's something that happens a lot. Apparently,
It's still
we don't
relevant
live.
now,
I'm not
man.
part of America. Yeah, that's why I said lots of what they're about to talk about is very relevant, especially in 2020 when we had all the Black Lives Matter movements happening.
Yeah.
I remember I jammed all these songs because I was like, yeah, this is actually fucking happening, and so
Yeah.
yeah, that one's about that. And then there's one of the fucking like brutal ones is um fuck, and sadness will see it. So many people say they hate this song first of all, and I don't get it. I like the slow, like down tempo type of riff. It's very like chunky and just sad, and it's meant to be that way because
Yeah.
it's about these guys who came up to a black guy again, and I think they like stripped him of his clothes and basically crucified him on like a barbed wire fence. That's why he says like tied to the fences they break you because they literally like, just beat him on a fence and basically crucified him.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that is pretty
So
ruthless.
yeah,
What
there's a
and
lot of
all of these are based on like real
anti-racist stuff.
cases.
Real cases. Yeah, I'm pretty sure all
Yeah.
of these are based on real cases. But then afterwards you've got other songs which are like very like the war side of things, like Ignition and Detonation. Um, yeah, it's a fucking yeah, it's full of heavy subjects. But then after it's got like Tread the Floods, which the song title is pretty self-explanatory. It's just it's like the track in ascendancy is to remind you that you need to get through this.
Yeah, yeah. A
I
message of hope.
I know, yeah, I know I'm talking so much during this fucking episode, but that's because like I'm like resident Trivium fan right now.
Man, I wouldn't have
But
it any other way, mate. You keep. I'm being straight up educated.
yeah, I told you about this one. I think this was an important one to talk about. It's not like a fucking huge message, but becoming the dragon.
Yeah, yeah. No,
First of all,
I
this
really enjoy this as a subject matter. Tell them what it's
yeah.
about.
First of all, like this is like a straight up just great thrash song, and Paolo has a bass solo at the end that he uses wah and distortion.
Yeah, no,
so
mate, that's such a good bass solo.
Bass solo, yeah.
It's
So
good.
simple, so it's just whoa, wow. It's just like really
yeah,
random noises.
no,
Like
there's some wicked
yes,
fucking bass
give
parts.
me more. Yeah, it's so good. But so Matt, obviously, he says it all the fucking time. He's half American, half Japanese. That's like the first thing he ever opens up whenever he's talking to new people. And so it's a bit of a meme in the Trivium community. And so this song is about Japanese mythology, which is about these koi fish that I don't remember the exact reason why, but they decide to start swimming upstream. So they're swimming against the current of this river or lake. Pretty sure it's yes, it'd be a river. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they're swimming against this stream. So obviously that's a fucking tough thing to do.
That's the bit.
Fish, especially.
Yeah.
We as humans, we can't fucking swim against it as well. It's really fucking hard. And then at one point, they come across a waterfall. Obviously, as a koi fish, this is rather hard to get up. You don't have feet, you can't climb, so they have to try and jump up this waterfall, and they keep trying, and none of them are ever really making it. And then these two demon dons come along, and they're like, yeah, this is funny. Let's alter this waterfall to be even taller. So they made the waterfall even taller, and they just started mocking the koi fish. Yeah, they started mocking the koi fish for being so dumb and thinking they can do this. So a few days pass, and lots of the koi fish start giving up, and they just leave and go back the other way until there's only one left. Yeah. And this one sacred koi fish actually jumps up the waterfall and makes it to the top. And because of his like endless just passion and motivation,
determination
to the end, determination, that's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
He fucking, the gods recognize this, and they turn him into a fucking golden dragon.
Metal.
How cool is that? Because he fucking defeated some demons by going up a waterfall. How fucking sick is this koi fish? I strive to be this fucking koi fish. But yeah, so basically that mythology is about like having determination and striving for what you want.
It's a classic fable.
Yeah. So, and it's an interesting way to tell that story. It's a very wholesome type of thing, because I like fish. They're fucking dumb, but I like fish.
I like fish too.
Yeah.
We learn something about each other every day, especially koi. I can picture koi fish in my head right now. They're not. Do they have whiskers, or am I thinking of something else?
No, that's a catfish.
Yeah, that is a catfish, isn't it? Yeah,
koi fish is like the standard like Japanese one that you see inside of like the nice Japanese ponds and stuff, right?
Yeah.
The ones that are like all patchy. They look like really fucking big goldfish, right?
Yeah, they're hench. They're like big boys.
There's lots of them that are like this fucking big. And they're like at the bottom, and all of a sudden you just see their fucking mouths and like, holy shit.
Yeah. The Japanese definitely like their fish. They like eating their fish as well. You know, it's a big part of their culinary tradition. But no, that's definitely a very interesting thing to write a song about. But it is, I love it, because as much as the kind of the angle is different, the message at the heart of it, which is keep your determination up against fucking zero odds. It's metal as fuck.
This song again has like, I remember I did a whole misheard lyric for this song in my notes. I deleted it ever since, but I did a whole one, and like there's just so many fucking funny ones. But the main one that everyone does is you know, in that fucking part where it's like do 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 do, and in that when he goes like, this dragon will be king, like that, yeah. Lots of people mishear that as this dragon will bake cake instead of be king. So it's just like, right, honestly. But I made a whole fucking like misheard lyrics of it. I wish I still had it, but I probably be able to do it again. I probably remember a few lines.
We'll put it on the socials. If you manage to find it again, we'll put up.
No, I'll try and rewrite it. I will not re-find it because I deleted it. That's for sure. But I'll try and rewrite it. I'm sure I can remember like quite a good few lines from that, because me and my friends had a good laugh from it.
Yeah, absolutely. No, there's some to talk about a couple of things. The tracks that I really like. Listening to Anthem made me miss live music, because there's that whoa yeah bit, and like yeah. Excellent rendition, sir. But yeah, no, like that has that like real. It's clearly designed to be fucking played to like big rooms full of people or festivals to get that big crowd response. I'm a sucker for that stuff.
Cheesy when I first heard it. I thought this song was really cheesy when I first heard it. Little did I know it's not the most cheesy song on this fucking album. But now I love this song. It's so fucking, just that riff.
Classic heavy metal stuff, right?
Yeah, and if you hear the bass in the background, Paolo's doing some crazy fucking shit. He's not just following the same riff. He's doing this groovy ass bass line. It's like, yeah. You know that meme, they're grooving? You know that meme where it's just that fucking like black silhouette and it's just they're grooving. Yeah, that's how I feel whenever I hear that fucking bass line, man. It's so good.
Yeah, no, there's some really standout bass parts all over this album where like you get some like sick bass solos, and I don't think enough bands have bass solos.
No.
they're so good. Like whenever you get one, like a full on, even if it's someone just fully worshipping at the altar of Cliff Burton, I'm just like, yes, do that again. Like, sometimes I'm just like, mate, fucking get the lead guitar player out of here and just let the bass player just fucking just rip one up with his fucking thick tone. I enjoy that. There's what other ones? I really like To the Rats. That's
I've got something to say about that, but I'll let you say what you have to say.
No, mate. I want to hear what you have to say about it. I have no doubt it's more interesting.
Please talk about it. I do like that song, but I have something funny to say about it. Please just fucking say what you want to say.
All off the top of my head, all I remember is that I really like To the Rats because it's one of the heavier ones on the album, right?
It's a really thrashy one.
Yeah. It's got like a really aggressive element to it, and it definitely stands out for that reason. To the Rats is really good. But I want to hear what you have to say about it. I'm not letting you get away with it.
Now you've made me fucking want to say so much about To the Rats. I'll get to the funny part last. At least funny part to me. But he has a straight death. Matt does a straight death metal solo on this. It's just like all whammy bar, like or straight Dimebag worship if you wanted to, because they both used dime guitars on this album. I'm pretty sure Matt had a Dean Dime Razorback, and Corey had Do I Want to Dig It Out?
I'll go for it, mate. Dig out the guitar, mate. Flex on them.
It's not Corey's actual guitar, but it's basically the same as what he used. Hold up, just.
I'll keep talking to him. No, we're not afraid to just flat out flex on this podcast. Like we don't care. I actually haven't seen this either, so it's as much for me as it is for everyone sitting at home. But no, it's good that I've got someone here who can actually talk me through guitar wise, because I can appreciate good guitar playing, but he actually plays and he's awful good. He's awful good, and he knows more than I do. Oh yes, no, it's hurry up, mate. There's only so much. Here he is. Here he is with the V. Show me the guitar, because I don't even think I've seen this.
No, you've definitely seen this. I used to play with this.
Yeah. No, I did see you play with that. Sick.
Yeah, this was my main guitar. Basically, what this is it's a Dean Dime Razorback V. So like a standard V, it's not. I'll try and fucking show you without punching on the ceiling. But it's got it's got this fucking part on it where it's all fucking spiky and all metal. This is the Razorback version, by the way. This isn't a normal V.
Lovely.
And it just looks fucking awesome. This was my first guitar that I bought that has a Lloyd Rose bridge system. So basically I can do the shit with it, the Dimebag stuff with it.
Excellent.
It also has fucking Dimebags tone knob type thing. You probably cannot see this.
No, it is coming through.
Used to do slits in there, and basically that's so as he could grab the fucking knob and turn it so much easier. And it's got a Dimebucker in it, which is like a fucking staple Dimebag pickup, by the way. That's Dimebag's pickup. It's not the Bill Lawrence version, but it's fucking close enough. But yeah, this is the guitars that they used, except Corey used this one. That's why I love this guitar, because Corey is one of my favorite guitarists. I'll show you in a minute when we get to when he had his other signature guitar, because I do have his signature 7-string, but I'll show you that when he actually starts using it. And then Matt has Dimebag's guitar, right?
Which one?
The Dean ML, the ML one, where it's like a V, but it's got the extra part here.
Oh yeah, I do know that one.
Yeah, so Matt uses a Razorback version of that. So it's like this. It's like an ML, except for having like a spike so long. It's more like just like a short spike, and it's like this, but with an extra spike on it. But I just like V-shaped guitars. But yeah.
So do I. That's like peak metal. Like it doesn't get more metal than V guitars. Not really. And yeah, no. I mean, you do get a lot of people who like to shit on the old Dimebag tone, but they can go fuck themselves. Anyway, lovely guitar. Is there anything else that we want to say about the Crusade before we move on?
I was gonna continue talking about To the Rats, but I need to put this guitar away real quick.
Okay, no, go. I'll keep talking to him. Yeah, no, I love To the Rats. What else have we got on this bad boy? I do like This World Can't Tear Us Apart. It's like sort of in the vein of Dying in
What's
Your
so funny
Arms.
to say about that as well?
All right, all right, all right. Wait. Get your ass back here, boy, because you've got talking to do, and there's only so much that I can keep on fucking chatting on my screen. Professional podcast. We are such a professional podcast. Oh, good grief! Come on. I'm straight up hurrying you up here, mate.
What the fuck's going on?
Okay, sit down. There we go. Right. Right. What have you got to say about what have you got to say about those two songs then?
Both of those songs. So Into the Rats, the thing that I find really fucking funny is that, so you know the line where he goes, break every bone in your face, yeah?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so
Yes.
basically the word face is so obviously punched in, and they didn't even do it cleanly, because break every bone is very silent, and then all of a sudden it's just face. And it just cuts off. It cuts in at a really random part, and then cuts off at another really random part, and it just makes no sense. I remember when I first heard that, I was like, "What the fuck is this mix? Holy shit! What are they doing?" Because it's just
so. Do you know the original line?
Because it's so much louder than the rest of it. What?
Do you know the original line? What they punched over, or at all? Because that sounds as though they.
I'm pretty sure it must have just been like, he think that he didn't say the word face in a good tone, maybe, and so they just punched it in, but they didn't bother to clean it up. That's what I think it might be. I don't know whether there was an original line.
I'm gonna have to re-listen to it again now.
So much. It's so much louder as well than like the words before it.
Yeah.
I mean, no, it would sound like shit if I tried to play it through my phone. But anyway,
no, don't do that.
Fucking hilarious.
No,
I've
mate.
got professional, like I've got real speakers. I could play with the CD, but that's more time spent wasted. And this episode's probably going to end up being like 3 hours long. Anyway,
at this rate, most likely.
Yeah. On This World Can't Tear Us Apart, that fucking, when they have the key change, Matt starts trying to, because the key change is higher. Matt starts trying to sing in the higher version. He goes, "This world could tear us apart now," and then Officer's like, "Oh wait, shit, I can't actually sing this high," because Matt's a very low singer. At the age of like 13, he could do "This Love" by Pantera.
Yeah.
As low as Phil. He had to play it lower. He had to play it lower than Phil.
Damn.
So that's fucking insane. But so like, he starts it higher, but he's like, "Wait, no, I can't go this high." So Officer's this key change doesn't really work because the guitars are going higher, his voice starts higher, but then he has to sing it in the lower version of that key, and it just fucks with my head whenever I hear it, and it just sounds so wet.
Yeah, it is pretty wet. I like it, but it isn't as good as Dying in Your Arms.
You said, I remember I could fucking trawl back and find you saying that you preferred it over Dying in Your Arms a couple of days ago.
I did at first, like as I was first hearing it, I was like, man, this is a bit of a thing. But like when I re-listened to it again, it's like, no, Dying in Your Arms is definitely better than this. Yeah, it is. The riff's better, the songwriting's better, the performances are more convincing. But yeah, I still do like it though. I think like I'm not averse to a metal ballad. I'm not averse to a metal ballad when it's done well.
All right, I got two more things to talk about, which are the last two tracks. The Rising. Yes, give me the cheese, give me the cheese, give me the cheese. just from that intro run alone. And it's like his fucking singing, it's like peak just standard of heavy metal. And it's a huge meme within the Trivium community. I mean, I remember when the 2020 album was going to come out. We'll get to that in a bit, obviously. But everyone was just like, I really hope it's just like 16 covers of The Rising in different fucking versions, because everyone finds that song to be so funny. And I agree. It's fucking hilarious. But it also gets grating at some points. No pun intended.
Yeah, no, I do like some grated cheddar over my beans on toast. A
Oh, you got
self-referential
some
humor.
beans,
Yeah,
beans. I had beans
yeah,
today.
no, you got to get the energy up somehow, and beans is a good way of doing it. But no, the rising is definitely cheesy. It just is. But over the years, my tastes have become slightly wet. Like I do enjoy. I love ballads. I think a lot of it has to do with like when I'm drinking. There's nothing I like hearing more
Yeah,
than like power
it's just
ballads.
nice. It's yeah, you can drink to it, and like when you're starting to get a little bit tipsier, you can sing along to it, and you can be like, yeah, I'm actually doing a fucking good job.
Speaking of which,
It's, it's just not fucking wife beater this time, Jesus.
but yeah, no, it's I do enjoy it. And then yeah, what's the final track?
The final track is the title track called The Crusade, which, may I add, is a fucking instrumental track. That's pretty
Yes,
ballsy,
it
in my
is,
opinion, to have your title track be an instrumental track. It's
and it's
7 minutes,
fucking wicked as
and
well. It's like a big,
it's so good. I
it
used to,
is like a big crusade in song
uh,
form.
yeah, that's what I was just about to say. I used to skip the last 2 tracks. I used to be like, yeah, no, this album's done, because I couldn't be asked to listen to an instrumental one. But then I was like, I had to listen to it for this, and I was like, why did I skip this? This is like, it feels like a crusade, because like the first riff is very galloping. It feels like people are fucking charging at you, or you're charging at like a village or something, and just about to fucking burn shit down and kill some people. And then offers there's like a more mellow part where it's like shit's ended, and offers that riff just comes back, and it
Mm.
becomes more empowering as it goes through. And it's just like, holy shit, they managed to convey the actual fucking title of this through
Through
the
just music.
the only music. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a really impressive final track. I'm a sucker for a good old fashioned instrumental where you just get like big epic fucking solos over this stuff. And Trivium have already proven themselves, even at this young tender age, which they're still at this point. Like they're really good at doing like classic heavy metal epic style kind of like long
Yeah.
runs, and it's a really good sort of springboard for them to really flex that muscle creatively. And yeah, no, sick fucking closer. So
Sick
to
fucking
round
album.
up, because I do
Overhated.
think we do need to round up. Um,
Yeah.
this
Said a
is
lot.
this is we have, but I'm really glad we have, because like it does feel as though a lot of the discussion around this album is really dismissive. So I feel kind of like I feel really good that we're actually able to go into the guts of this album, because if you put off this record because you've heard that it's shit, do yourself a favor and just listen to it with some
Listen to
clean
it.
ears,
Yeah.
because
Listen to it with an
I
open
think
mind.
this is a really good follow up to Ascendancy.
Yeah.
To me it just sounds like a band wanting to embrace like the classic heavy metal roots, and they do it really fucking well. It's really good. So like to wrap up, one of the most overhated albums I can maybe think of, and there's a lot of them in metal especially, but
Yeah.
I
They're
had my
very
idea as to
judgmental
what this
people.
was, and it's great. Like I think it's a really good metal record, and that's what we're here for, isn't it, ladies and gentlemen?
Yeah.
Yes, right. The
All right.
Crusade, it's
Moving
good.
on. Moving
Moving
on.
on though,
We have
so
the powerhouse of an album,
I, I,
Shogun.
well, so we're talking a lot about like the public perception, because I think it is important to talk about this stuff
Mm.
as like a thing. So at this point, within that period of time, Trivium had gone from being like literally like metal's
Yeah.
most looked upon
Yeah,
young
they were on
upstarts.
every single magazine cover being said, "Oh yeah, these guys are the next Metallica."
Yeah,
So what they
that
did
was what
was
you
that
heard everywhere.
they apparently
They are
saw,
the next Metallica, and then
and then
they
the
put out
issue
the Chris,
was
and
that
then
they became too much like Metallica, and then all of a sudden, from being the most reputable, like amazing band, all of a sudden they were just being shouted on by every single
yeah,
fucking magazine out
they
there.
became a bit of a fucking laughing stock online. I mean,
Yeah,
I do remember seeing a lot of people just saying like, "Oh, what a bunch of fucking posers," which is stupid. But you know, people were shitting all over them. You know, they'd gone from this height of like people having such an expectation of them going, "Yeah, they fucked it. They've taken all the wind out of their sails." And people were basically saying it's over, which is
yeah,
stupid,
and
but
the
that's what people were saying. So to me, it feels righteous almost that they then follow up. Maybe they took, I'd like to believe that they took all of that negative criticism in their stride and they went, oh, you think we suck now? Okay, all right. And to me, what they did with Shogun, which is the next album we're going to talk about, was they went, all right, we're going to bring back the heavier, more aggressive element. We're going to start screaming again, but we're going to like sort of take some of the lessons that we learned from the Crusade, but we're going to bring it back to like the sort of a lot of the sounds which we kind of had put to the wayside a bit. But we're also going to write like a proper like progressive, expansive, but fucking like balls to the wall, hard metal album.
Yeah.
And you get Shogun. Now Shogun.
Some more interesting shit is because obviously with their big dip in the Crusade, no one really cared about what they were doing afterwards. So lots of people regard this as their favorite album and say it's their best thing. And I remember I watched a while back an interview with Corey and Paolo, and Corey said, "Yeah, this album, like when it dropped, no one really gave a shit about it. It did a few sales, and it just kind of got a medium review. No one was overhyped about it. And then like a few like months later, or maybe a year later, people went back to us and they were like, shit, they fucking came back in a huge way, which is just so unfortunate because if people had held on with the Crusade, they would have immediately heard one of the powerhouse Trivium albums that is regarded by many fans as their best album.
Do you think that they would have had sort of like, because I mean I don't know, I don't know the creative process that went behind the album, but I'd like to believe that it's all like them writing an album as good as this. Like, spoiler alert, I fucking love this album. We
both love this album.
Yeah. I really, really love this album. And it to me, like, I'd like to believe that they kind of took the negativity that they'd received and they kind of went, well, they did exactly what I think you should do if you get that kind of a negative reaction to what you're doing, is you kind of take that energy and instead of going, oh, we failed, you kind of go, all right, you think we suck?
Yeah.
I'll fucking show you.
Apparently so, though, this album was a fucking hassle to record. I think they spent like 6 to 8 weeks in the studio, something like that, just trying to record this. It took forever.
Yeah, that is a long time.
That's because of like what they wrote, and we'll get into that once we start to talk about certain songs, especially because of fucking Corey Buliau. He wrote some insane riffs, but anyway,
for sure. This to me, it feels both. It's both a continuation of Ascendancy and of the Crusade. It's like
there's some fucking hard hitting breakdowns, like in
the one in Down from the Sky is so good.
Oh, I wasn't even thinking about that, but yeah, seriously, it's just it's so fucking chunky. And then he screams, this salad was not the lettuce they had lettuce jubilee. Oh wait, no, that's the misheard lyric, right?
Still, no, you get the point across. That section is sick, and the way it goes from like that almost, maybe I'm just hearing everything Morbid Angel because I spent like a week listening.
Oh yeah, it's very Morbid Angel.
And then the bow down, so good.
I call that the salmonella riff because one day Gregory was all of a sudden just like salmonella, the salmonellas, the salmonella, and so now I just call that the salmonella riff. That's the salmonella.
Cook your chicken properly, otherwise you get salmonella.
Salmonella. All right, we'll start with that riff. But there's other good breakdowns in. I'm pretty sure is like Callisto to a Star in Heaven, you know.
Oh yeah.
And then afterwards they start, because it starts out with just this E just being fucking just being fucking chunked on, and then they add like octaves going up. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I love that part.
another part of this album being as fucking heavy as it is they introduced 7 strings into it. So now they're playing
Yeah,
in E standard, which on ascendancy they were playing in E flat. Oh wait, no, no, ascendancy they were playing on drop D. I forgot in the Crusade they did use 7 strings as well, but here I think they used them way more than they did on the Crusade. I think only 2 tracks use 6 strings, which is Insurrection and like Callisto to a Star in Heaven.
yeah,
Insurrection is believable because that's a very like thrashy. But
yeah, yeah.
like Callisto to a Star in Heaven just has that fucking chunky, like slammy breakdown. It's so fucking good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Tasty. It's bloody tasty. No, for me, there's like a bunch of
bunch of
highlights on this.
highlights.
There,
Yeah,
there, there there's so many.
every track is good. There's not a weak track on this album.
No, no, there
The
really
only one that I
genuinely isn't.
think,
I fucking. No, do you want to know one of the ones that has like clicked for me recently doing this is I fucking love that riff at the beginning of the Calamity. I think it's the Calamity.
that's what I was. Yeah,
Oh, it gives me
that one,
feelies.
dude.
It gives
That
me
one.
chest feelies.
That's the one song to me. That's my least favorite song on this album.
Oh,
Actually, yeah.
oh, interesting. Why?
Not to say it's bad, by the way, because like I said, there's not a bad song on this album. But trying to rank these songs, it's very difficult. I know
Yeah,
it's my
no, it
favorite
is.
one is, but the Calamity is probably my least favorite because to me, I remember this song obviously, but because I've listened to this album countless amount of times, but it's not the most memorable to me.
Yeah, to me, it's just that fucking.
Intro riff, yeah.
I'm such a mark for that particular kind of sound played in that
Yeah,
kind
they
of
do
key.
that in Throws of Perdition as well, don't
Yeah,
they?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought that's my other favorite part of the album.
And then afterwards they take that and play it on the low B string, so it's
Oh, meaty! It's so
so
good.
fucking
It's so
meaty.
good. No,
Um,
so again, I think overall the record like represents another step up in songwriting.
yeah.
This step up, that step up in songwriting that they took here is fucking bananas. Like it, because to
Yeah.
me, like they get quite progressive on this album. There's
Yeah.
like a lot of like really well done, like tasteful changes. Like the songs are longer, but they never feel like they're dragging on. It just feels like they've got more to sort of like a bigger palette to draw from. Oh man, like I specifically remember people saying like, "Oh wait a minute, the new Trivium album is actually like fucking great." And I was just like, at that time, I mean, I was like, was this 2008? So yeah, this was when I was just like head first in death metal and grind and deathcore as well, and just anything fucking fuck off heavy. So I was just like, Trivium, I'll listen to it at one point. I specifically remember I listened to the album and it was just like, mate, it was so ahead of everything they'd done songwriting wise, and just like the sort of the atmospherics almost. I mean, I wouldn't describe it as an atmospheric album, but I got kind of a
album.
It really has like such a there's a lot more feeling in this. Do you know what I mean when I say that? There's more feeling in this than there is in their other stuff.
I mean, yeah, there's more passion for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
There's like so many just well thought out guitar parts, well thought out vocal patterns, vocal melodies, and everything like that. I mean, my favorite track, I'll say my favorite track after this album is "Into the Mouth of Hell We March," which isn't the heaviest, but it's the one that gives me the feels, and I have a great relationship, a love-hate relationship even with Corey's solo, which is the entire solo in that song. But I mean, just from the intro, like, just immediately it's like, yep, this track's fucking epic. And the chorus, the rhythm guitar part, Matt says it's almost like a pop type of chord progression because it's very like major, but he said I alternated the strum pattern to make it sound more like metal and different than just like a simple straight pop beat. And then offers they add that lead guitar part over it, and it's just like, yeah, yeah, I'm into this. And then to the part where it's about them like crashing upon the shore finally, and they're pulling up from the
Yeah.
wreckage. Just that fucking with Matt's vocals over it. It's just like, yes, please give me more. And then all of a sudden we're fucking thrown into this fray of a riff. And then all of a sudden the solo just fucking hits
Right
you,
in the
fucking
face.
punches you even. That's my fist, not my fucking foot. Fist. No, punches you right in the face. Because honestly, dude, just the intro of that fucking solo alone is like, just like, what? This was probably the first Trivium solo I learned all the way through, excluding Dying Your Arms, but that solo is a little bit easier. The only part I ignored on this solo is Corey's tapping part where he goes all up the fucking neck, and it's like, yeah, I can't tap for shit, so fuck that. But no,
You can do
like the
everything
solo
else
on
spot
this
on,
song
though.
is ruthless. I can't sweep pick like huge amounts of strings. I can sweep pick like an arpeggio sweep, but no, I'd say I'm a decent guitarist. I'm not amazing. There's room to improve, but
For a
there's
15-year-old,
always
you're
room to improve
mental,
on
mate.
everything you do.
For,
Cheers, bud.
for everyone's knowledge, in case you're not already aware, for a 15-year-old, this lad right here is a diddly doodly little boy. Seriously, you are a fucking sick guitar player.
Yeah.
I was floored the first time I saw you play because you are sick, and but I can
You
see.
haven't.
If this is where you're taking your inspiration from, I can see why. Because
Yeah, a lot. Even though like I'm in a predominantly like death metal band. Before that, we took like a lot of inspiration from the Ascendancy style of things, and others were like, yeah, no, I think we kind of want to move on to doing a death metal thing. The first track we wrote was very like normal death metal. I didn't have a part in writing the first track. It was all the bass player who wrote the first track. I think I had a part in the breakdown or the slam rather, because it's more of a slam, taking inspiration from the guys behind me. Because it's like I showed you it. I remember I sent you a video file. Maybe my bassist gonna get pissed with me because I'm basically leaking all our songs to you. I sent you a video of me playing that fucking slam because it goes from the like really slow slam to even fucking slower and just in a more chunkier register.
I love
Yeah,
it when
I
riffs
definitely
turn to
take a lot of
soup.
my like yeah, but I definitely take a lot of inspiration from Trivium, and I've been trying to incorporate some of their parts in the death metal part. Like I said a few days ago to you, I want to get a chug triplet riff into there, like a very suffocating sight. Because on this album as well, there's so many fucking chug triplets. There's one on Kiri Stego Men, just on this right normal
Nice
riff. That's how
pronunciation,
you
by the
say
way.
that, by the
I
way.
was wondering how you actually
Yeah,
pronounce that
yeah,
song title, but again,
yeah.
educated.
Once again, I heard it from Matt. There's a U. I might as well explain this now because you fucking got me onto it.
Yeah.
It's pronounced Kiri Ste Domain. It's not Kiri Suit, which is like how everyone says it. I don't, because I'm not a normie and I fucking spent too much time learning shit about Trivium. But yeah, so basically, I'm pretty sure he was watching the History Channel, and he heard of this thing that like samurai used to do, which was called kiristego men. If you disrespect like someone who's higher up than you, they are allowed to bestow upon you kiristego men, which means that they, which he says translates to basically, sorry, but I have to take your head. So, because someone's disrespected you, you are immediately allowed to truncate this person just out of pure will and in front of everyone. That's why it says, that's why it says in the song, they've already died inside, but as for the outside, we'll take their fucking heads. And that's
Oh
just like
yeah,
such
yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
powerful
No,
fucking
I
part,
remember that
really.
lyric now. Yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
that is, and again, because yeah, this album is like a concept album, isn't it? It's like sort of like all
No, whoa. Before you say it's about Japanese shit, no, that's like
oh,
2 or 3
okay.
songs that are Japanese. Kiristego Men and Shogun are the only ones that are really Japanese. I don't know if the other ones are, but most of this is based off of Greek mythology, actually.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Especially like the one that I know the most because I fucking learned the lyrics of this because my band used to cover it. Who Spawned the Furies is about one of the Titans. I don't know if you're very well versed in Greek mythology, but you know what the Titans are,
Ish.
right?
Yeah. I know what the
Mythology, right?
Titans are. Yeah.
Yeah, like they're the big fucking dudes, and I think it's called that because I don't remember the name of the fucking Titan. I don't remember the names of everyone, but he fucking like got cut somewhere by someone or something like that, and then obviously spawned out like these kids from from his fucking genitalia because he got cut there, and then just these kids came out, and instead of
Or
just like
fully
trying to raise them
formed.
because technically they were his kids, yeah, and that's why it says in the fucking lyric something like take these teeth out of me, I don't know what this is, uh something about him being newly birthed and he can barely breathe because the fucking Titan just took these things and just swallowed them whole. That's why it says the father, the creator of these, swallowed his children whole. And that's like, so most of this is based off of
Pretty
Greek
metal, isn't
mythology,
it?
actually, which is the common, yeah, it's the common misconception because the album's called Shogun, so, and it's got the Japanese writing on it.
Yeah.
As you can see, got Japanese writing on it, and it's like, so many people think it's like Japanese related, especially because Matt's half Japanese, but no, it's mainly based off of Greek mythology. Pretty sure Callisto to a Star in Heaven sang Greek. Yeah, there's only like 2 or 3 songs on here that are Japanese. And like I said, the only ones I can know for sure is Kiri Stego Man and Shogun, because Shogun is a like a lead samurai, basically. He's like the one that
It's like
leads them into battle.
he's like because I do know a little bit about feudal Japan, and yeah, Shogun is like the he's like a ruler of a samurai, like a little like a clan
Yeah.
almost, isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, well, we do like to dispel common
It still is
disbelief.
a concept album. It is actually still technically a concept album. Just most of it's Greek, by the way.
Yeah,
Just
no,
get
but
that right.
I like being able to dispel a bit of common ignorance about something, which I
Yeah.
kind of assumed, like, because like I said, I didn't go into the lyrics like while doing my listening and all that, so it's good to be able to have that cleared up because I did just assume I could have sworn I read that somewhere that was meant to be a reputable
Yeah,
source.
I thought that every song was on here was about Japanese mythology, but so did everyone. So
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
it's just a good thing to clear up because then offers people can get their fucking facts straight and stop looking like fucking idiots.
Leave looking like idiots to us. We're the professional.
Yeah, I'm the
idiots.
encyclopedia, all right.
Yeah, no, man, don't get too big for your boots, son.
Nah, I'm
It's
only
all right.
joking.
It's all right.
I'm only fucking joking.
Yeah, you fucking better be, mate. Otherwise,
I don't really care if you
I'll
get it
choke you to
wrong.
death with beans.
Ah, fuck. Well, that doesn't sound like such a bad death.
Nah, there's definitely worse ways to go. But yeah,
Definitely.
back to Shogun. Yeah, no, I cannot say there's a single moment on this I do not enjoy. The other day when I was doing my listening for this, the sun came out and I was doing some gardening. No, I was doing some gardening with this in my headphones, and the solos were just like in the sun were just so lovely. I was just like, mate, this is so good. And I ended up fucking like doing the claw, and I'm just fucking headbanging while like pulling out weeds. Like if any of my neighbours saw me, they'd think that I was like needed to be sent to some kind of institution because I was kind of going for it. But yeah, what a fun record! What an excellently put together, well written album. This to me is where Trivium can really sit themselves as being like actual like royalty of metal within their generation, without question. Which leads us on to the next record, which is
Quite
In
a few
Waves.
years later, right?
Yeah, no, there's quite a three-year gap in between, which was at that point, I do believe the biggest gap in between records. So yeah, this sees them going. Yeah, let's go to you first. How would you describe the sound of this in comparison with its predecessor?
I am part of those people because a lot of people see this as their favorite album as well. I'm part of those people that thinks this is a bit of a downgrade.
Yeah.
To me, they had something unique. Shogun wasn't just a straight thrash album. it wasn't just a metalcore album. It was very fucking unique. But I can understand with something so niche sounding and very unique, it's hard to replicate something like that again.
And to
So
be
they
quite honest
decided
with
that,
you, like when you release an album that is so obviously just such an excellent record from front to
yeah,
back,
it's hard to fucking pull
like
up for that. Yeah.
the expectation on an artist when you do something like that, when you bring out something where everyone goes, yeah, this is your best album, easy, like, because that's what happened with Shogun. It came out and everyone went, look, watch it, and went, yeah, this is like Trivium's best one. Like, I can't imagine the kind of pressure that would then befall
Yeah.
an artist when it's like, right, so we've now got to top our best album. And to me, I kind of commend them because it's sort of like they went, no, we're just going to write a bunch of tracks.
What we want, and that's what they've always said since the beginning, is that they didn't want to write anything that people wanted to hear. They just want to write what they wanted to hear. So here they definitely that's hearing so many times in one fucking sentence. Anyway, this time around they decided to take it back to the metalcore style, and they definitely took it a lot more to the metalcore. Not like Ascendancy. This is way more metalcore. The title track. I just want to quickly get this out of the way before we try and get too deep. The title track, In Waves, is, I like it. Don't get me wrong. I do like this track. It's very fun, but the reason why it was so fucking popular to me is because it follows a formula that the masses enjoy, which is, if you listen to a lot of pop music that's come out like during this sort of time, during 2011ish, right? This was when this came out.
Yeah, 2011.
It's like a lot of like repeating one note melodies with the like same thing being said over and over again, and then maybe a little change in the verse and offers the same thing. And that's what In Waves is doing in that track, because it's and it's like that over and over and over again, and he just says In Waves like 60 fucking times. It's fun to scream to it. It's definitely fun to like headbang to. It's an enjoyable song, but it's definitely one that's very like marketable, because it can be like an audience of people that don't enjoy metal that much can go like, yeah, I'm fucking enjoying this. I'm fucking hard. I listen to metal. I also know what he's saying because he says it like 60 times in one fucking sentence. Wow! Yeah, that's not to say it's a bad song, but it's definitely a reason why this album and song got quite a bit popular.
Yeah, it also like the way it comes in with those like piano chords, which and it has like the general production job has like this is easily, I think, their most straight up metalcore album. Like it does, it follows a lot of the kind of the things, and like I said, I like a lot of metalcore, but you can, so I know a lot of where this album's coming from. It's got those fucking chuggy breakdown riffs over like there's a lot of like with the melodic choruses, and I think they do it a lot better than a lot of other bands do it.
That's not to say, it's just to say that like In Waves has that repetitiveness that like
I agree.
Pop music and stuff. That's just one thing that I want to get off my chest. It's not saying that I hate it. I definitely don't hate it. It's not like annoyingly repetitive and about random shit that they can think of. Because I definitely do not enjoy the music from that time.
Like it was a bit of a dark period, mate.
Yeah.
It was,
I didn't really know music that well very back then, but then offers songs from that year turned 10 this year, right? So I was like, oh yeah, this is interesting. I'm gonna see what people were into, and I'm like, yeah, I remember these songs, but I wish I wasn't reminded of half of these. Fucking hell, I cannot talk.
Yeah, no,
I wasn't reminded about half of these.
I mean, that was sort of around the period where dubstep was massive still to a point, and like everything went really clubby at that point in time.
The one note melodies of like getting this like EDM influence in, which was kind of started by, I know that we're not meant to be like pop fucking maniacs and shit, but I guess that was started in 2010 when that Kesha song fucking charted. I don't remember.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I don't hate pop
melody. Music. Yeah.
No, I don't hate all of it. There are some songs I would admit that are enjoyable, especially older pop songs like ABBA. That's everyone's guilty pleasure. Everyone's guilty pleasure is an ABBA song. Everyone enjoys it.
There's nothing guilty about liking ABBA.
I know, but everyone calls it a guilty pleasure, man. I don't fucking get it because everyone likes ABBA.
Yeah,
Come on,
that's
Dancing
because
Queen.
it's
That's a fucking
brilliantly
tune.
performed, brilliantly written, brilliantly produced
Yeah,
music.
yeah,
It's just really good. Very
yeah.
cheesy, but enjoyably cheesy.
We are music lovers. Get this right.
Yes,
We are music lovers. I mean,
we
he's
are.
way more versed in than me because
Uh,
my brain is still trying to get out of the it's metal or nothing, and I definitely enjoy other stuff. It's just that I'm
Yeah, but
still
when you're
like,
15, that's just the
yeah,
way that things work when you like
yeah,
metal and you're 15. Like
yeah.
I was exactly the same. It was like, so
I
if
definitely
this
enjoy other
doesn't have
stuff.
fucking blast beats and a fight riff, I don't want to hear it. That
I
was
like
just
it
how I
being
was.
I like it being somewhat weird at the same time. Like I said, I was getting like I enjoy idols a lot. They're like what like an indie type
I
of band,
fucking love idols.
but idols are cool because like they're fucking out there. I mean, the song Love Song, I carry the watermelon. That fucking cracks me up every single time. Anyway, let's get back to Trivium and
Yeah,
In
yeah.
Waves.
So in waves is most certainly them. Yeah, it's definitely more produced than Shogun was, and it is a metalcore album. I think this is
Album, yeah.
probably, to me, it is their most straight ahead metalcore album in terms of like the song structures, and there's some really good stuff on here. I've really right when I look back on this track list because I'm just looking at it on my phone. Um, the standout to me personally is Caustic of the Ties That
And Ties
Bind.
That Bind. Yeah, because there's that really like melodic chorus type of, but it's like interesting to listen. It's actually fun to listen to. It's not an annoying like standard metalcore chorus. It's interesting to listen to. That's for sure.
Yeah,
I
and
enjoy it.
it's got a great like lead riff as well.
Yeah,
It's got like a like and everything about it is just really that to me is a really
yeah.
good
That's
Trivium song.
that is the one where it's like he says that he's like lost, but he's found his way, right? Something like that, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
something along those lines. But that I love that track. Looking at the rest of these, and this is one thing I actually had with this. Um, when I look back on a, oh wait, I do. Is it Dust Dismantled? I think I like Dust Dismantled. I think. Yeah. Dust Dismantled is
Yeah,
good.
that fucking riff is heavy. That's like has some pretty black metal parts in it.
That's why I like it.
Yeah, it's so fucking so chunky, and as well, he does like a very compressed, like almost like fucking gurgled fucking death metal scream in this,
Yeah,
which
no,
is
Dust Dismantled
yeah,
and Caustic of the Size That Bind are both great tracks that I would listen to outside of it. But
yeah.
for me personally, I look back on this track list and I kind of go, I have a hard time that like whereas with Shogun, and maybe I'm a bit biased because I've listened to that album outside of this more than any other one. But even when I was listening to the other albums, when I was doing it for this, I could look at the track list and go, oh yeah, I remember that one. I remember that one. I remember that one.
Yeah.
And I just have a bit of a hard time remembering. I know while it's on, I'm enjoying myself, but it's just things don't quite pop in the same way as other records, even ones which other people don't seem to like, but we'll definitely get to that. But yeah, it's certainly an interesting one in their discography because I think you're right. I think it definitely does have a little bit of an influence from more mainstream things, and I don't think, like you said, I fully believe that.
I'm really just talking about In Waves. I'm really just talking about In Waves on that one, where it's just the repetitive same melody and
I think
like
I think the
single
production
headbanger
job
chorus.
kind of has like a way more of like a
Yeah,
mainstream metal kind of
but
a
I'm really only talking about In Waves on that one
yeah. No,
because the
talk me through
recipes
some of
are
your
very
highlights
like
of this out of the
good.
album.
I remember quite a few parts of this album that I enjoy. You already talked about Dust Dismantled. That fucking track is
Yeah, it's a
fucking
banger.
chunky and it's really good, by the way. Um, Watch the World Burn. That one, I enjoy the riff on that. It's fun. Definitely not my favorite. Black is a song that I enjoy quite a bit. I will admit.
How does Black go?
Then
Remind
I've
me.
just got Built to Fall. Um, da, 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 do, da, do, da, do, 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 do,
I
do.
can't remember it off the top.
Dude, really? Oh
No,
man, it's
no, no, I
fucking.
don't think
I
so.
kind of swapped between the guitar melody and the vocal melody there, so it probably was confusing. But No, I enjoy that song. Built to Fall, I definitely enjoy that. That one, it speaks to me a good amount, especially during one part of my life where I wasn't very happy. But anyway,
Mm.
yeah, it's pretty obvious. It's just like telling someone that they're a fucking disease on you. Of course, they got ties that bond. We already ran through that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty sure he says in there he's chucking on the same air as a walking disease, and I just fucking love that line. That's fucking death metal and brutal as shit. A walking disease, come on.
Yeah, no, that's certainly pretty
Then
brutal.
one of my favorite ones is Forsake Not Dream. It's pretty melodic. It's very metalcore, but like the riffs in that one are just the guitar rock on that song is insanely fucking good. I tried to learn it. No, those like fucking picking parts are really way too fast. Do you remember how that one goes?
You have to
Forsake Not
refresh
the
me.
Dream. It's the one that starts out with the clean guitar going.
Oh yeah. No, I do remember that one. Yeah, no, that's a good tune.
Yeah,
That's a good tune. That one, I like that.
I enjoy that one.
Yeah,
Also, it's just it's very wordy, but it's very verbose. But all that it really means is it's a very fucking poetic way of saying, "Do not let go of your dreams. Don't do that."
definitely don't.
Because there's a lyric on there that's a bit weird, which is crestfallen on the crestfallen. Now, I don't exactly remember what a crestfallen is. You took English language studies, so maybe you know what crestfallen, like what a crestfallen
It's
is.
crestfallen. Well, I'm gonna refer to my good old friend Mr. Google because I don't. I did
Yeah.
study English. Crestfall.
I remember I watched an interview and Matt talked about that fucking crestfallen. Yeah,
crestfallen.
But
Adjective. Sad and disappointed. So yeah, bit down,
yeah,
bit
so
down in the dumps.
Crestfallen on the crestfallen.
Yeah, no.
So what it is like double down in the dumps. Right.
Yeah. Just everything's double fucked. Yeah, no, I get that. I get that.
Yeah. I also really enjoy the track of All These Yesterdays. That's like the last song. It's the like acoustic starting out one. Then afterwards, it's fucking like got the chuggy riffs inside of it. And I always find it fucking hilarious when he goes like, he really shouts and fucking screams like, "I take what's left of life, push it against my head," and then afterwards he just sings and dream of the color red, and I'm like, dude, that's like you're screaming here, you're screaming these fucking lines, and then all of a sudden you just say and dream of the color red. It's like, no, there's no like flow to it.
Maybe that was the point artistically, though. Like maybe it was like he's taken it and put it against his head, but he's only dreaming of the color red. He's not actually going to like go ahead with his threat.
I remember when I said that. No, when I said that lyric to you, you went, "Is his head a prism, lol?" Prism.
Oh, a prism. Yeah. Well, yeah. No, I was being fucking stupid.
Why did you say that?
Because it reminded me of the Pink Floyd cover. Like I put like I don't know, put the light against my head.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, and then I see now. I was so fucking confused. I was like, what is this? I guess.
Yeah, because that's a prism, like where light moves in and like splits into three different things. Yeah, no, I was just being dumb. That was the first thing I thought of. But no, I understand that with the flow. But maybe he was trying to get across like a point of like him not going ahead with his threat and it like being, I don't know. Maybe, I'm just clawing for things.
And then afterwards, the last track is a continuation of All These Yesterdays, but it's just it's like a noise. If you were to listen to a noise band, but they actually had an acoustic guitar in the background and someone shouting about something, but I'm not sure what it is. I didn't look at the lyrics, but yeah, that's like, yeah. In ways, it's a decent album. It's definitely like a downgrade, but surely they were just doing what they wanted to do. And by the looks of things, lots of people enjoy this album. So many people say this is their favorite. I don't know whether more people say Shogun is their favorite or not. Like, You
I
know?
mean, I think this album is pretty good. Like for me, it's like a
Yeah,
6.5,
I
7
enjoy
out of
it.
10.
I can enjoy it.
I think it's all right. Like it's not it's not going to be the one that I go to, but it's definitely got. While it's on, I like it. But like I said, for me, I have a hard time remembering like individual songs from it when it's over.
Yeah,
So for me,
I think the songs on here are pretty memorable, honestly, especially like the chorus parts. I remember a lot of parts of these songs, but maybe that's just because I've listened to it a tad bit more than you have,
that
right? 'Cause
that's
you
always
didn't
going to
listen
be a
to this
factor,
as
right?
early.
Like I mean, you've had a lot more time to live with this
Yeah,
stuff, and maybe sometimes like
especially because
certain.
I listened to yeah, I listened to Trivium like relentlessly for quite a
Yeah,
while. I mean, it's been only like less than a year that I stopped listening to them so fucking much because I found other bands and found more bands and started listening to more than just one band at a time. Because I'm very much in
your
that segment
horizons
where it's like,
broadened.
oh yeah, Slipknot's yeah, Slipknot's the only fucking cool thing that I listen to. I'm gonna listen to that. And after I found Avenged Sevenfold, still listen to a bit of Slipknot, but I listen to Avenged way more. And then after I found Trivium and I listened to them like most of the fucking time, along with Avenged and Slipknot. And in lockdown, I had so much time to find so many new fucking bands, and then I got really deep into death metal, and now look at where I am.
Oh,
I'm
what
gonna
the
put
most
myself in a
beautiful of
fucking
all
grave.
evolutions! Oh, it brings joy to my greasy little
Yeah,
heart.
it's
It
it's,
really
it's
does.
kind of my brain has gone backwards really because like the riffs on Trivium and shit are so complex, but like like unless if you talk about brutal death metal like Deeds of Flesh and stuff, especially some slam shit, my brain is just like I put on Abominable
Yeah,
Putridity.
yeah,
Yeah, I put on Abominable Putridity like whilst I'm fucking walking, and I really have to resist the urge to just
yeah.
walk like that as I'm fucking walking because like there's people around me and they're gonna think I'm fucking mentally deranged. Yeah.
Right. No, no, no. Most excellent. But yes, that I think that wraps up on in waves. But next, we have the follow up, which is Vengeance Falls. Now, you told me something quite interesting about this album when
Interesting
I
about this. Yeah.
which was that it was produced by
Yeah.
David
This.
Drainman, who is obviously like most known as the lead singer of Disturbed, which is very interesting actually. Like, do you know anything more about that? Like about his role?
Uh. All I know is he mixed it, and all I can really say about it is it sounds exactly what you think it would sound like the mix if David Draymond was to mix a grooved metalcore album. It sounds
Yeah.
exactly like it, and I think he had so much power in the studio that Matt almost ends up copying vocal like the boring ass vocal melodies that
Do you
fucking David
know?
Draymond
So
would have
I'm
wrote
gonna
all the
go
time.
right ahead and say, like, I'm gonna spoil it a little bit and say, this is my least favorite one out of the discography.
Yeah,
I like to
it's
me
not
this is the
memorable.
one where I actually find myself quite bored by good elements of it. I genuinely I've tried listening to this 3 times, right? I even tried listening to it again because there was I end up zoning out every time I put this on. It ends
Mm.
up washing over me to the point where I'm not really focusing anymore. And the only part of this album I can remember when I'm not listening to it is the chorus to Villainy Thrives because it sounds like a Disturbed chorus.
Because
Like when the walls all we
yeah,
can
the
make
part that
it,
caught me in that fucking
innocence
chorus,
dies, will villainy
skies, while
thrives.
villainy thrives.
That
We
is a
messed that
fucking
up, didn't
Disturbed
we?
chorus. That is genuinely a Disturbed. I mean,
Yeah, that's
I
what I
think
mean. I'm
Disturbed.
certain,
Go on.
I'm certain David Draymond had like an influence and was like, yeah, no, you're gonna do it how I want to. And Matt wound up just basically having to copy what David Draymond wanted, and it just it doesn't work, man. You should have let him do what he wanted. Like
Yeah,
fuck, I don't know what to say.
yeah.
But however,
I think this is gonna be a quick one because I really
yeah,
don't know
I've
what.
got I've got some stuff to say.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Please do because I'm kind of
I've
at a
got some
loss.
stuff to say. Um, I yeah no, I obviously probably know a few more parts of this album than you do because once again, I listened to quite a few of these albums a good amount.
Yeah.
I'll fill it in with some random thoughts just so as enough as we can get it in a little bit more. But like fuck, when Strife comes on, my attention is drawn to it because that's like one of their popular songs that I heard, and it's definitely a fun song. I enjoy it. It has a pretty rad solo inside of it.
Yeah.
I remember when I was listening to this album and the song "No Way to Heal" came on. This is just a random thought. This was back when I first heard it. It made me immediately think of the game Overwatch because I was really fucking into that game. And for some reason, when he says "No Way to Heal," I thought immediately of the health pack from Overwatch, which is a weird coincidence because this Overwatch wasn't out when this fucking album came out, but it's actually one of Matt's favorite games. So it's a bit weird that I thought of Overwatch when first hearing this album, even though I didn't know that Matt played Overwatch. You know,
Little bit of a coincidence,
but, coincidence, yeah. And then afterwards, like my favorite track on here, and one that I genuinely enjoy and would put on, like to listen to, would be "Wake the End Is Nigh." I fucking love that song so much. The way that it starts out and Matt's voice goes super fucking low. He goes really low inside of that fucking intro part, and then it just comes a duh, 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 and there's a scream of just "wake" in the fucking part, and then
I think I
Matt's,
just
like,
about
singing
remember
over
that actually.
it. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you said that was like one of the more memorable parts because it changes up, and I actually remember that song from start to finish, like instrumentally and vocally, and it's not like so David Draymondized. That's the term we're gonna use. It's not so fucking David Draymondized. There's actually some fucking Draymondized. There's actually some Matt Hafey in that vocal tone and stuff. And I
Yeah.
mean the solos are fucking sick. The riffs are sick in that song. So yeah, I definitely enjoy that song. But otherwise, yeah, this album's forgettable. I found myself listening to it and then scrolling through Instagram as I normally do when I have an album because I don't know what really to do. But normally I'm listening to the music, but I just totally zoned out. I
Yeah.
literally zoned out from the music.
It just doesn't. The songs don't have the different like peaks and valleys, and the dynamics that their best stuff has. Like they're like it doesn't like. I know that there are some change ups, and I know that there must be some level of variety, but it's not to the same degree that like their best stuff has like at all. It really like I don't know, it just kind of washes over me. It all kind of sounds quite similar. The mix really is just a little bit. I mean, it's fine, it's functional. It's not like I can't hear anything. Like it's not like anything's drowned out by the mix or like it sounds thin or anything like that. But it also doesn't really have much in the way of character.
I just realized we didn't talk anything about the issue Trivium had with drummers.
The what happened, drummers?
The issue Trivium has with drummers.
Oh yeah, no. Please
right,
do,
Dave,
please do tell me more.
We'll quickly go through and catch you up to speed. So Trivium, in their entire career, as of today, have been through I think 5 drummers. So the first one was a dude called Travis. Forgot his second name. He played up until Shogun, and then obviously left because of personal issues.
Yeah.
And obviously, I'm pretty sure on In Waves, I don't remember the guy's name, but he looks like Paolo. And when he played drums, he would like squint whenever he hit like a crash cymbal, so it looked like he was fucking terrified of this crash cymbal. So it was quite funny to watch. And then I think he left pretty early on after In Waves, and then they got another dude who they complained about him because he always fucking styled his hair. Every 5 seconds he would be doing something, and obviously you have to check the mirror because you wonder if his hair's gone. Like,
that's gross.
So like he'd always fucking be checking his hair all the time. And they're like, dude, you just need to get a knife comb. And then I think he left. And I think we're pretty much done talking about this album. So then after this, he left at some point after this album. Or did he? No, he didn't leave after this album. It's after the next album that he left. But I guess we move on. I've caught you up with the drummers now.
Okay, all right, no. So you can bring up the drummer situation when it becomes relevant with the record. Yeah, we're done with Vengeance Falls, but now we move on to an album, and I knew that this album had a reputation before it as being another misfire.
The worst Trivium album, apparently.
Yeah, no. So Yeah, it's known as being a misfire. There's a couple of podcasts I listen to actually have said that the Silence in the Snow is the one we're talking about. They sort of said that it was a creative misfire, that they toned it down too much. It was really cheesy, like it wasn't any good. And so I was like, oh, that's a shame to hear, and I just didn't listen to it. And so, what obviously doing the listening for this, I kind of have my expectations low. And it's another kind of a
Did
sense.
you know the context? Did you know the context of like why it was um why Matt was only singing before I told you?
Didn't he have voice problems?
Yeah, he after Vengeance Falls, he went on a tour and he blew his voice out, which is a bad thing, obviously, because he'd
Yeah,
been screaming not properly for quite a good while and singing poorly for a good amount of time. So then afterwards, he couldn't scream on this album because he didn't want to damage his voice because he knew the screaming was the thing that was doing it really bad, and he wasn't prepared to scream yet. So
yeah.
after he blew his voice out, he had to cancel the whole tour and he had to send crew home without pay and stuff. And he felt fucking so guilty. And then M Shadows, the vocalist of Avenged Sevenfold,
Mm.
came up to him and said, "I've got this vocal coach. You should talk to him." And it's a guy called Ron, but I don't remember his second name. He's got
And the
a
guy
very
from
good.
Avenged Sevenfold had the same problem as well. Like,
Yeah, exactly. That's why he M Shadows. They're both called Matt. M Shadows said to Matt of Trivium to go talk to this guy because he helped him out. Because yeah, Matt M Shadows rather blew his voice out as well. Yeah, I know.
yeah.
And so Matt from Trivium ended up going. He and he started like teaching him how to vocally warm up and stuff. He's
Mm.
best known for like doing a fucking pigeon thing where it's like all the fucking time to warm up your voice. Running through scales. If you're a vocalist, real quick, get his app. It's called Voice Tech with an X as voice. But yeah, it's a very fucking useful app to just warm up and get yourself ready. And
I'll have to
Matt
look
didn't
into
feel
that.
ready. Yeah, Matt didn't feel ready to scream yet. So instead, they were like, "Well, we're gonna make an album, and we're just gonna have singing." And the part that confuses me is why didn't they just get Corey to do the screams on the album? But then again, I thought maybe his
Mm.
screams just didn't sound good in a studio setting. I don't know, because Corey's scream. I mean, if you watch live videos, his scream it starts out as like a very high, like falsetto note, so it goes like before the actual scream. If you get what I mean. So it probably doesn't. It doesn't. It probably doesn't sound very good, like in a studio. So that's probably why.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that's why Matt had to sing on this album, and they had to try and adapt to the fact that Matt could only sing and couldn't do anything really aggressive sounding with his voice.
No, for sure. But I went into this kind of like it's good to know the reason why that there is an absence of screaming or dirty vocals of any sort on this album. And so I'm here kind of going, okay, well, I suppose I'm bracing myself for disappointment. And it turns out we've basically got another, not quite to the same extent, but it's like the Crusade Volume Two, because I put this album on and I'm like, and I've just listened to Vengeance Falls, right? Like, and where I'm like, okay, this washes
Yeah,
over me, and I can't remember any of it. And as soon as I put the album on, I'm like, oh my god, these choruses are catchy as fuck. Like
catchy. Yeah,
I'm a mark
so
for a
catchy.
good old fashioned catchy chorus when they're written really well. And this album's fucking chock full of them. I really really like this album. I think it's great. Like, but
Yeah,
the one
so
thing I
do I.
really like is let me just get the title of the thing up because I can't remember off the top of my head. It's not like they skim back on the heaviness because this album has fucking Dead and Gone on it, which is
Dead and gone.
yeah. That
Yeah,
that's got
that
a big
fucking
old
song
soupy
is
riff on it.
yeah. Yeah, that's like probably one of the first songs I heard on this album where I was like, okay, I enjoy some of this album because I was also introduced to it, like being told, yeah, this is the worst fucking Trivium album. Matt's just singing, it's cheesy, and it just gets annoying. And then I listened to Dead and Gone, I was like, whoa, no, this album actually sounds fucking cool. And
Mm.
his vocals on the song Dead and Gone sound very genuine. You know, when he says, "I fear or die a forgotten man," it sounds very genuine.
Yeah,
So
definitely. If you feel the
I can respect
conviction.
that. And yeah, especially after having heard Vengeance Falls and immediately afterwards listened to Silence in the Snow, it's like you could tell Matt, because this was not mixed by David Draymond
No.
or produced, and you could tell Matt was able to use what he wanted to use, which works so much better because there's so many interesting vocal melodies and layers inside of this, and also they haven't given up on thrashy riffs because the intro to the thing that's killing me, that fucking riff is really thrashy.
Yeah, yeah, no, there's some fucking brilliant moments on this album, man. Like, yeah, the thing that's killing me is really good. Breathe in the Flames as a final track is well good. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Like, Blind Leaving the Blind is also good. I'm trying to remember the
Yeah,
thing.
that one harkens back quite a bit to the Ascendancy days with that riff. That kind of
Yeah.
fucking
It's got that kind of like melodic death metal
it's
edge to it.
definitely
Yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
but it's definitely like obviously had to be adapted for the fact they could only sing. One of my favorite songs of here is "Pull Me from the Void." I fucking love that song. Just that chorus where he sings "Pull Me from the Void." I just get goosebumps each time. I love it
How does
so
it
much.
go? Give me a rendition.
It's like a fuck. I can't go as that high. Uh, Pull me from the void.
Oh,
I'll
mate, that song.
forget the
Dun,
silent
dun, dun,
voice.
dun, dun, dun,
It's
dun,
so fucking
dun.
good.
Yeah. No, mate, that song's catchy as shit,
Yeah.
mate. It's so good.
Shit. Yeah, it's so fucking good. That riff as well behind it is like, yes. I like this. I like this Trivium. I like this fucking era of Trivium.
Yeah, no, I
Especially
think this
like you
is a
say,
really good
we keep on
album.
quoting back to it, but after listening to Vengeance Falls, I'm sure if I'd have listened to Vengeance Falls and then like a month later having listened to Sin, no, not almost said the next album, Silence in the Snow, uh, I probably would have preferred Vengeance, but no, definitely like straight after listening to this is like a really fucking catchy, well thought out um album. And some people may argue like, yeah, no, it's got like a radio rock type of mix. But as you said, I'm gonna quote you here, it's not played that way. It's not
No,
played like a
no.
fucking radio rock
Yeah,
type of
it
like
definitely
album.
has. It definitely has a kind of a mix where I could see this sitting alongside like a lot of other songs like on American mainstream rock radio. It kind of has, obviously, because a lot of like the vocal layering kind of has that kind of sound to it, but
Yeah.
it's not played like that. Like this doesn't sound like fucking Breaking Benjamin or whatever. Like you know what I mean? It is still
Yeah.
Trivium. You know what I mean? Not that I actually like Breaking Benjamin. I don't know, like for that kind of thing. Let me abandon it. It's not like modern Godsmack or fucking like who's another shit band? There's loads of them, like Creed or something. It's
Five
not like
Finger
that, but
Death
you could
Punch. Wait,
see it.
no, but Five Finger Death Punch is not like that.
Yeah, but you could see it
Five Finger
being
Death
played
Punch is quite
alongside
fast.
that kind of thing because of the way that the vocals are mixed. But the vocal melodies are a lot better than that kind of thing usually is. And yeah, this is clearly being played by an actual metal band who are a lot more talented and musically adept than your average like band of that sort. So yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, the
And
whole like selling out thing hit them again because of that. And to me, it's just like, well, like you said, they were hit by their vocalist not being able to go heavy, so they had to go more melodic. And one thing which I really want to point out,
yeah,
which I
and
got
to
at
me this
earlier,
shows like
is like I
yeah, go.
mentioned, like Matt, he like his singing has improved like gradually over the course of his career, and I think it really starts to show here where he's like obviously not able to scream and he's relying entirely on his singing. Man, he fucking carries some of those hooks so well, and he gives it the full fucking power of it, and yeah, I think he sounds great on this. I think he sounds excellent. So
Yeah.
definitely the star of the show.
Another thing to like talk about is that this shows that these guys are very fucking good musicians. To be able to adapt to such a big change in your sound, because your singer can no longer scream. It's like that just
Yeah.
shows that these guys know what the fuck they're doing. It's almost like they just had to improvise something because all of a sudden they're having to play something totally new, more melodic, more vocally based. They have to add parts in there. Like, yeah, we could make this sound pretty fucking epic, and really catchy if we had it with only clean vocals.
Yeah, yeah, and I think they did a really good job, man. And like you said, having when you after having just listened to the previous record, it's like a breath of fresh air. But yeah, Silence in the Snow is really good, and I'm going to pause this quickly because I need to use the little boys' room. My bladder's going. So 2 seconds. Hello, back at it again. Just need to use the toilet real quick. Yeah, so that's Silence in the Snow, and so now we move on to The Sin and the Sentence, which was heralded as somewhat of a comeback for Trivium, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Matt was screaming again, and
Yes.
the very fun thing to know is that Matt was fucking terrified when he was going back to screaming, because they tried his new screaming technique that he'd learned, which he uses for live, and it sounds like the old screams. But in a studio setting where everything bounces off the wall and everything sounds so fucking perfect, it's like it sounded terrible apparently. So he was terrified because they said you're gonna have to do the old screaming technique. And there is on YouTube like a making of The Sin and Sentence. It's like a 4-part, 6-part series of like short videos of like parts of them writing this new record. And when Matt was in the booth trying to do his new scream, his old scream, his scream was coming like because he said there was almost like a barrier stopping him from doing this because his head was going, I'm fucking up my voice, I'm fucking up my voice, I know I'm doing something bad, I know I'm doing something bad. So he was really fucking scared. But he wound up doing it, and holy shit, did it render this album to be so fucking heavy, like on the heavy songs. Because the good thing to note is that this album has like a lot of like radio metal, radio rock songs, like actual radio metal songs.
Yeah, and it's also their first album with their new drummer, the drummer that they had.
Yeah. So yeah, it has. We'll quickly talk about a guy who was before him. So when the guy off of Silence in the Snow left, the guy who kept fucking styling his hair, they had another drummer who was this blonde dude. He only played live. I don't know. I don't think he lasted very long. He must have like lasted like maybe a year or less. And then afterwards, they went on to YouTube and looked at drum covers, and they found this man called Alex Bent who did a drum cover of something off of Ascendancy. I'm like, this is the guy. If you don't know who Alex Bent is, who I didn't know before I was told this, he's the fucking drummer from bands Battlecross and Brain Drill.
Yeah.
If you fucking know Brain Drill, that's just
when Brain, I remember like I was just getting into death metal when Brain Drill first sort of emerged with that first album, and they were basically the most over-the-top technical band I think anyone had really ever.
That's wankery.
Yeah, no, it's like the most over-the-top fast shit you can. It's just constant hyperblast and sweep. So yeah, but I mean, impressive, but I'm not a massive fan. But the point being, the guy can fucking play, right? And that is, I think that's the first thing that. But when I listen to this, the very first thing that immediately hits me is, mate, these drums have had an upgrade.
You hear it immediately from that first snare pop in the title track, which is the first song, just that da 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 da.
Yes,
you just know from that snare pop, this guy's going. Even though it's such a simple thing to just go da 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 on a fuck it. I mean, he does a little double bass thing beforehand.
Yeah,
and then he does just straight double bass and like almost blasting throughout the entire intro of that tremolo picked riff. It's like, yeah, this dude, he's what Trivium has been needing for all these years that they've been struggling with drummers.
Yeah, no, he is an actual beast. This guy, what he adds to the Trivium sound is so much energy. Like for me, like that the thing that really defines this album is like they haven't had this much energy since Ascendancy, and in a way, it's a different kind of energy. Whereas like Ascendancy is almost like a youthful, sort of a thrashy, like fucking full paced kind of a thing. This is like he'll take
A calculated,
it's one of those things where like
time.
so where the song will be playing, he'll like as a sort of a more standard drummer would maybe do an obvious thing, but he kind of does like sort of off kilter bits or adds like weird little fills in and gives these things a whole new dimension. And man, it ends up. I think this is one of their best records. I fucking
do
love the
really
Sin
like
and the
it.
Sentence, and I listened to this when it came out because a lot of people were sort of saying like, holy fuck, Trivium are back, and are they? And so I was like, okay, I'll listen to it. And I remember listening to it and going, mate, this is fucking wicked. Like I immediately was just like, yeah, this is one of their best albums. And it's just there's such a fucking wide variety of stuff on this as well. Is one of the things I like. Like you get like a more melodic edge. Then like they go full on black metal and parts. You get the wretchedness inside, which is heavy as fuck.
It has a slam in it. It has an actual fucking slam riff.
It hasn't.
Like, how did it come to this? Just jump, 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 jump. And a reason why they sound so fucking heavy is on this album they're using 7 strings and sometimes 6 strings. The 7-string parts are usually in B flat standard. So you're taking a normal guitar, adding that low string on it, and tuning down half a step.
Yeah.
But the wretchedness inside is tuned to either G sharp standard or drop G sharp. So to give you context, G sharp standard is the lowest tuning Cannibal Corpse uses on songs mainly like Scourge of Iron. And if you know that, just that riff,
it's
that
sludgy as
can
shit.
Sound fucking sluggy. And they use that tuning on the wretchedness inside, and they're just a pure fucking slam riff. Like I felt like I was almost listening to like fucking Devourment or maybe not Devourment because it doesn't have the like signature fucking gravity snare.
But yeah,
like
that song can rank as one of their heaviest. In fact, I think that might be their heaviest track, to be honest.
Probably.
It's easily one of them. But on top of that, there's really great melodic stuff here. They go like fucking more like classic heavy metal. They go full thrashy. There's some metalcore stuff. It almost feels like it's like a culmination of everything they've done over the years. And it really like I fucking love it. Like it's all done really energetically. Like it all feels natural as well. There's like a flow through the album, even though they're going through all these different styles. It's this is one hell of a fucking comeback.
It's a fun album.
It's stupidly fun.
Like I said before, there's like a few like radio rock, radio metal tracks. That's like Other Worlds is one that I'd count as that. Endless Night is definitely one I'd count as that. And then Heart From Your Hate, which I think is their most popular song to date.
I mean, it is a bit of a banger, isn't it?
It's it's a banger, and like it genuinely like it just makes.
I love that chug riff over
it's so fucking simplistic. It's just the same like. I mean, it's got that type of thing that you like in the Calamity and Frozen Petition, where the lead guitar is doing and then
the fucking chord, the chants in the background, like from your head, hey! I like all that stuff. It's lovely.
Yeah, they have a lot of chants on this because on the track Beyond Oblivion, which is a very meat and potatoes like chunky sounding track, they have the fucking like what have we done chant, don't they? Done. It's fucking like there's a lot of chanty parts on this album. One of my favorite tracks is Betrayer on this album, which is the one that you say has the black metal riff. Was that the one that you want about?
Oh mate, it's so good.
That tremolo intro picking riff. And Alex just adds this fucking like drumming behind it that's like insane. He has drum covers of like each song on this album on his YouTube channel. I fucking highly recommend you go and watch them. They will make you want to play drums. Like that shit actually made me want to try and learn drums. Even though I haven't gone anywhere with it really, but like it genuinely just makes you want to fucking play drums. And however, though, I do have one issue with Betrayer. In the part where he goes like I all the fucking time. On the last one, he sounds like he falls flat on it because he goes, I'll never Heathers. Like he does this weird. He doesn't go quite high enough to me. It sounds like I'm pretty sure I noticed that before, but it was probably pointed out to me again by Brad off of Banger TV because I remember he mentioned it, and I was just like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I remember hearing that. And now that's just ingrained in my fucking memory, and it's annoying because I can't enjoy that part of the song anymore.
Yeah, it sticks out like a sore thumb. Yeah. But you know, there seems to be a recurring thing for him. Obviously, he's got a very naturally kind of deep baritone sort of a tone. So going high, obviously, when your voice is naturally built that way, you know what I mean? It's going to be hard to.
Yeah, I'm surprised of his vocal performance on Other Worlds because that chorus is pretty fucking high. I struggle to get to that fucking we're dreaming in other worlds. Believing no other cause I can't do it actually. You heard my voice go a little bit.
It definitely is impressive. No, for sure.
But yeah, it screams so fucking brutal on him. When he does scream, it's like you know when he's fucking screaming.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's definitely a welcome return too. They definitely bring back the heavier elements because and with the addition of Alex, who obviously him bringing that fucking drum prowess to those heavy moments. High impact stuff, and like I always appreciate when a band can get that contrast between a more melodic edge, like and being able to play like more dynamic, softer melodic stuff, and then being able to bring it in.
The album flows well for being like an album with so much different stuff going on.
That's definitely my favorite part of it.
It flows so well. Also, I forgot to do this. This the album there. It's just a triangle with fire.
Yeah, I've got to say it's probably my least favorite album art of theirs. I get what they were going. I get what they were going for with it.
I think it's like his sister or someone drew it for him. I think it may have been. And what they were going to do is that they were going to have like a very simplistic symbol for each song. So if you go on YouTube and listen to each song there, each song has like a different symbol. Like Sin Sentence one is the triangle. Endless Night is like a moon type thing. The Revanchist is like a poison bottle. And so when he saw, because I'm pretty sure they were gonna call it the album Betrayer, but then as he saw the logo that the person did for the Sin Sentence is like that's the album cover and that's the album title. It's the Sin Sentence. So
and plus I really do like that as a title. It does roll off very well. The Sin and the Sentence, it has that kind of catchiness.
And it works well as like the abbreviated TASTS, right? But when you say it like all together as the abbreviated version, it's SETS, and I just like saying it like that.
SETS. Nice one.
Like, it's a fun album. Great redemption. Last time we were on about Morbid Angel, their redemption was a little bit weak, but Trivium, both of their redemption albums, per se, their redemption albums, both very fucking good albums.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the Sin and the Sentence is a bloody banger. And so on to the most recent one.
Last year's one,
What the Dead Men Say.
March.
Yeah, no, this came out just as quarantine was kicking in, right?
I think, just as quarantine was kicking in, or when it happened. But yeah. So, I mean, because this was the first album, I obviously was like knowing of Trivium when it was being released. I got to hear like all the singles coming out, which is one of the first things that we ever like talked about. Because I remember I just messaged you about something that we were gonna do at like an open mic, and then afterwards it was in lockdown. And then afterwards you messaged me like, mate, have you heard the new Trivium songs? Because I was a big fucking Trivium fan. And this just made a spiral down into basically like endless days of just talking about random shit all the time.
About being metal nerds.
And beans and all that kind of stuff. But and then so like the first single was Catastrophes, right?
Yeah.
I remember hearing that. I was like, I am fucking ready to hear what they have. I mean, there's a fucking Chuck Schuldiner riff in there. There is
you're not wrong.
Riff in there in that song. However, though, I cannot sing it to you because for some reason now I've totally blanked it out. But yeah, no, there's definitely like, you can tell Matt and Corey were like, yeah, we're gonna take some inspiration from more stuff and added in a fucking death riff from like a Sound of Perseverance type era, which is very like death proggy era. And you may argue, in my case, it's not a death album, but
Yeah.
either it's a Control Denied album.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. He wrote those songs for Control Denied, but yeah, that's a whole different story.
I think but we'll probably get onto that when we do a death ranking at some point.
Which we definitely are at some point.
Yeah, that was the first one we were gonna do, but now, as I said, no, another channel I watched did it first, so it might look like.
Yeah, no, but we are 110% doing death. It's not out of debate. But yes, but yeah, the Catastrophist was definitely a good like opening salvo in terms of like getting a taste of what this album was going to do.
Long. That track's long. It's like what, 6 minutes long. But
yeah,
it doesn't like feel draining. It's enjoyable to listen to because there's so many intricacies and different parts. Paolo's bass tone on this album is just fucking phenomenal. I remember from that first track, Catastrophist, when it was released, George, because we left school and because the album was released whilst we were in school, we got to listen to like the first few minutes of it because we were in thankfully inside the practice space where no one goes in, and so we listened to it together in the practice space and we we're like, yeah, that sounds good, but unfortunately we have to fucking go into our form, so I arrived a little bit late because we wanted to listen to the new Trivium, and after we walked home and we then messaged each other about like what fucking parts stood out, and it was immediately like yeah, Paolo's bass tone is like fucking phenomenal on this album, and it is. If you can hear the bass on this, you're like, yep, this is good.
Yeah, it definitely adds more weight to things, and
depth to it.
Yeah, the thing that really strikes me about this album is it's almost like the Sin and the Sentence was sort of them coming back, and it was sort of like it had a wah kind of an energy, like, look, we're doing all of this stuff again. Whereas the Sin and the Sentence feels definitely more focused. It's sort of like they went, okay, we've got all these tricks. Let's sort of write like an album. The flow again is even better on this one. Yeah. The album flows spectacularly. Like it kind of almost, I don't know if it is a concept album from the lyrics, but it kind of feels like
no. It's not. It's like some of the songs are mislinked, but there might be some concept parts.
Yeah, but in terms of the way that the songs all flow together, and the fact that like it definitely does feel like a little bit of a journey, not too much, but it's the whole album is excellent to listen to from start to finish. But there's less like mad like things going on, and it's more like they're just trying to write songs, like really good songs.
Another thing that I think is that they trusted Alex more, because they definitely let him off a lot more. There's way more like blast beaty type parts, especially in the next single that came out, What the Dead Men Say. I remember when
Alex
that one
on this album, I legitimately at one point messaged you or talk about it. Yeah. He fucking goes off on this album. He goes off. He's a fucking. And to me, it's almost like he came to the fore. Was like, look, here's what I can bring. And then on this record, it's like okay, you've proved your worth. You do your thing now. And yeah, I really hope that they stick with this guy for a long time because I mean, Jesus.
When not Hell's Headbangers. I'm looking at the fucking sticker. Sorry. What's it fucking called? What the Dead Men Say. The song came out. I remember because it starts out
sick riff,
and then all of a sudden, I love that riff so much. It's always ingrained in my fucking memory. And it's and then Matt's singing, and it's like this fucking fast, like hyper blast, like happening on the fucking drums in the background, and there's pick scrapes as well. Your favorite?
Oh yes, there is. Oh, I'm such a mark for the pick scrape. When I first heard that, in the chest.
Your fucking mic clipped out. There was no sound for like a second there. I was like,
pick scrapes. I love them so much.
And then afterwards, at one fucking point in that song, they fucking take it and break it down. So it's just dun 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 do, dun 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 do, dun 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 do. It's so fucking heavy. I love that
Yeah.
track so much. But yeah, I mean, the only confusing part about it is the lyrics. It's like what the dead men say is just between us. What the dead men say you can't let go. It's like, okay, what the fuck are the dead men saying then? Are they saying, is it just between you? Are they saying that it's just between you, or are they saying you
Yeah.
can't let go and you've just told us that it's just between you? But whatever, man. I'm enjoying the music.
Yeah, no, for sure. I couldn't tell you what they were getting at with that song lyrically either, but it definitely.
I haven't read the lyrics to this, so
No, but
that's
it, as a chorus, it definitely does ingrain itself in your head. It's memorable, and really, at the end of the day, that's mainly what I look for in
yeah.
lyrics. You know what I mean? If it stands out and is expressive and is memorable, you know what I mean? And yeah, it definitely is memorable. What other bangers have
I
we
have
got on
some
this album?
fucking
Oh
highlight
man,
songs on this album.
man, fucking the Defiant. I
Yeah,
love the Defiant.
that okay, listen, that riff sounds exactly like fuck that song off of Ascendancy. Hold on a minute, I'll totally
Go
find
on,
it.
go on, go on. I'll let you get to it. Which Ascendancy song does it sound like?
The Deceived.
Does it?
Yeah, that's
Oh, I guess it
that's the
does.
Defiant. That's the Defiant, and after the Deceived is like more.
Yeah, yeah. No, I see what you mean. Actually,
It's
yeah,
very similar.
yeah.
Not to say that's the
To
same.
be fair,
I
like if
mean,
there's
I
one
think
band that I think a band are allowed to rip
allowed
off,
to
it's
recycle
themselves.
riffs. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
you're allowed to rip yourself off a bit.
I mean, Bolt Thrower did that like 60 times. I mean,
Yes,
come on.
they did. Yes, unashamedly so too, and fair fucking play to them. But I love the Defiant. The Defiant.
Defiant.
Now we
Yeah.
talked about key changes. And
Yeah,
some of
this
them
one has
maybe being off. The key change in the
changes
Defiant
so
is
good. Hey,
fucking brilliant.
it's so unexpected, but it comes so well because it's just the fucking ascending guitar part where he's going and
Oh,
then all of a sudden he goes a note too high and everything changes in like I wasn't expecting this, and Matt's actually able to sing high enough to get to it. So that's a improvement off of this World Class Heresy part. Thank you
it's
very much, Matt.
one of the best moments on the album for me. That like it's
Oh yeah,
really like epic, and like
yeah,
the uplift you get from that is brilliant. Like it's
yeah.
again, it's kind of a show of like their songwriting just being on point. Like because mate, like key changes are something which are so easy to just fucking
Sound wet.
flimsy on, but
Yeah,
that one is done so well and so tastefully. Tasteful is not something you think of when you think of key changes, and that key changes, mwah, chef's kiss, mwah, it's beautiful.
yeah.
I love it. What
Um,
I'm trying to
I
think.
would. Sickness Unto You is a track that stands out so much to me.
Yeah, that is a great
Yeah.
track.
It has a very sad story, but I mean that riff just it
Yeah.
always sticks into my head. And he does a blech in this song as well, which was what everyone was waiting for. I remember I read through the comments of that song, and everyone was just like, "Matt did the blech, Matt did the blech, fucking hell, he did a blech." And everyone was so excited
Yeah,
about
because
it.
that would have been still when it became a meme that architects
Meme,
were doing
yeah,
them.
yeah, yeah.
Like,
And then off was the song is fucking sad because it's about one of Matt's dogs, which was a French bulldog called Miyuki, and
oh,
she was a diabetic dog, so he took a lot of care of her. But then off was at one point she had to be put down,
yeah,
and that's why he's retelling. That's why he says the open eyes and mouth, the open eyes and mouth, oh how it stares. I give in, I am through my sickness unto you, because he realized that this was an issue, so he had to put her down. And so it's a very fucking sad song. Having gone through when I was younger, at least, so I don't really remember it too well, but having had to go through having dogs put down before, it's a very sad thing. But I was
it
young, so
is. Yeah,
it's not really phased into my memory. Not if I was to like get one put down now or when I'm older. So yeah, it's definitely a sad song, and it hits me in the feels each time I listen to it. But it's redeemed because it's not going to make me weep, because at the same time I'm like, man, these riffs are so good, and the solo in it is like, oh, that solo is good. But yeah, what else do they do fucking really well on this album? The more melodic radio rock type songs, radio metal type songs are done pretty well. Besides Bleeding, to me, I do enjoy it, but it's repetitive. It's the same thing over and over and over again. Although I will say I enjoy that bass time so much. Boo, diddle, boo, diddle, boo, diddle. That's fun.
Yeah. No,
but otherwise,
I agree.
the song's
Actually,
like 5 minutes of the same thing, though.
Yeah, it could have used like a few change ups in pace or something. You know what I mean? I agree with that. Like I like
but
it.
Otherwise, what's the one that I really enjoy? Scattering the Ashes.
Scattering the Ashes is a banger.
That fucking song is so good.
That's a banger.
Yeah, it's really fucking fun. Yeah, what other songs are really fucking good on that? I mean, all of them are good, by the way. All these songs are good.
Like I said, the thing that really stands out to me is the fact that there is such a consistent flow, even more so than the in the sentence. Like it really does flow so excellently. Like this is one of those albums of theirs where I mean I don't skip songs on albums anyway, because I'm a bit finicky with it. I'm like, no, keep it on. It might be a good song. The song might get good. But like with this, I definitely couldn't imagine skipping anything on there. It all flows together really nicely. All the songs really complement each other, and it's a very well constructed record. You know what I mean? Definitely, I really, really love it. Like it's good. I'm very, very glad that this band were able to come back and like really stake their claim as being like, you know, one of the fucking big boys after having like a long period where, you know, you could maybe doubt what was going on, but after these last two albums, it's like, mate, the Trivium are really good at what they do, aren't they? They're really, really good at what they do. Absolutely. But yeah, that's all of the yeah. Have you got anything you want to say about them? What the Dead Men say? Before we move on to ranking?
No, I'll talk about anything else that I have in my ranking.
All right, yeah, good point. Right, so now we get to the big moment.
Who ranked first? Who gave their first number in
oh yeah,
I think that was me, wasn't it?
All right,
I immediately opened up with Heretic being my least favorite.
All right, yeah. Okay, well, in which case I will start off with the album ranking. So we have 9 albums total, and and I don't think I'm going to be surprising anyone because I literally said it. My bottom ranked Trivium album is Vengeance Falls. I said why. Like I just have a hard time remembering any of this album. Like it's to me, it's by far the most boring one. Like I just maybe with repeat listens, I'll be able to get some more out of it. But nothing here really stands out to me apart from that one chorus on that one song that sounds like David Draymond. So yeah, it's one at the bottom. I legitimately don't have anything to say about it because for that exact reason, it just kind of like passes me by. Like I'd probably give it like about a 4, to be honest. It makes me shrug my shoulders. So yeah, my bottom one is Vengeance Falls, and I'm guessing that yours is too.
Yeah, my bottom one's Vengeance Falls as well. Aside from like 2 tracks that I enjoy, especially Wake the End Is Nigh, like I say, that's actually a track that I would put on to enjoy at like any given moment. But otherwise, the rest just went straight over my head. Even after listening to it 3 fucking times, no, I don't really remember much aside from Villainy Thrives. And the main part that when I was listening to it was when he said the word rapist. And that immediately.
He says what?
He says the word rapist.
Oh, wait. Okay. All right.
What did you think I fucking said?
I don't know. I heard like redibist. I don't know. I was just like, what?
I did say it weirdly. When he said the word rapist, fuck. Now you made me almost say rapist, whatever the fuck. When he says the word rapist, that cut through to me, and that was really it. Maybe that says something about me, but who knows?
Who knows?
Yeah, a bit boring, honestly.
Yeah, there's not much to talk about there, so we'll move on. So my number 8 I don't know if this is going to be controversial to you or anyone listening, but my
Oh,
number
it's what
8
you
is In
said it
Waves.
was.
I see your
Mine's
face. I
barely
see.
higher than yours, though. Mine
Yeah,
waves is barely higher.
like not a bad album at all. Good amounts of energy, but again, like bits of it. There are songs on there I find a little bit forgettable. But it does have that one track which I can't remember right off the top of my head. Caustic of the Size of Mind. I really love that song, and there are definitely some good moments on there. There's good energy, and it is a better metalcore album than a lot of other bands of that style would put out. But again, it just doesn't quite get there for me. But still good, still good. I enjoy it. What is your number 8?
My number 8 is Silence in the Snow. Now, I will preface, I did make a list beforehand of what I thought my albums would be like before doing this full listen through, which I told you, but I'm not gonna bore you guys with that. But
Yeah,
Silence in the Snow. Ranking Trivium was pretty fucking difficult because like
it
there's so much
was.
thing that I either had like empathy for because I felt so bad that it was fucking so overhated and I like it, but I
Yeah,
had to put Silence here because I was like, no, don't do it because you have empathy for this album. Like, for fuck's sakes, man, that's just a bit sad. Um, but no, I definitely enjoyed this album. I fucking love "Pull Me from the Void." That song is so much fucking fun. Um, I listen to
it is
that
great.
like that chorus is always stuck with me. Um, yeah, fucking "Dead and Gone" is a chunky fucking shit. Like, yeah, I just enjoyed this. I just enjoyed this album, but I'm distraught I had to put it so low.
We can only ever be honest. You know what I mean? We can only ever be honest.
Never be honest.
But my number 7 is also Silence in the Snow. I felt the exact same thing as you. I almost wanted to put it higher than this, because to sort of be like, no, you know what? All you lot are unfair. This is really good, because I'd like, this to me is where things start to go from like, no, I really enjoy this. So the first two there are kind of like, well, Vengeance Falls is like, I am literally like aggressively indifferent to In Waves, which I think is pretty good. This album, I think, is a good album. Like, this is a good record. I think they fucking pass with flying colours in the face of adversity, which is a metal thing to do. Then like the choruses are fucking sticky. The songs are really well written. Like, it's a really consistent album all the way through. Like twos, like I really like Silence in the Snow. Like it's a rare occurrence of a band like going in a more melodic direction, fucking smashing it, in my opinion. So
Yeah.
that's always to be commended. Like, I think they did a really good job. I feel kind of sad and weird that so many people don't see the same way as I do.
Yeah.
Hey, if you do, leave a
I don't
comment.
think it should be hated. I don't think it should be
No,
hated.
massively overhated, massively
Anyway,
overhated. But
my
but
number
yeah,
7
but yeah, that
is
that that is my number. So what is your number 7?
my number 7 is In Waves.
All
Now,
right.
um probably more just because I've probably got a case of like rose tinted glasses towards this over Silence in the Snow. There's probably a little part of me that still thinks, yeah, Silence in the Snow is that bad album where they just sounded terrible. There's probably still a little bit of that in me. But In Waves, I just find quite a bit more fucking memorable and I enjoy the tracks on here. I'm not a huge metalcore guy, but that's just because not because of like the stigma around them that everyone should hate them unless you're a fucking poser. It's more just because of I haven't really bothered to delve into it. But
Yeah,
no,
fair.
I definitely enjoy this. Weakest track to me, like I said, is the title track, which is probably a little bit fucking controversial because that is like a staple of their live performances and by the fans. But I think it's a bit too close to something that I do not like,
And that's
especially
fair.
from that fucking era. Um, Call me a fucking like twat head who just says that all pop music is bad, but like, no, I don't think that way. I have an open mind towards music now, but yeah, I just enjoy the guitar work on this fucking album. I mean, Dust Dismantled, as we fucking said, that fucking track rips so much shit. I love that
Awesome.
fucking song so much. Forsake Not the Dream has a lot of good parts, and probably my favorite track that's technically part of the album but isn't because it's a bonus track on this is Shattering the Skies Above, but it's a bonus track, and I'm pretty sure it was written for God of War. It was written for one of the God of War games, and it was used in God of War, which is
Sick.
fucking cool.
Yeah,
And
no, sweet. I do like a bit of God of War.
Did you listen to Shattering the Skies Above?
I did on my first listen through. I did check out the bonus tracks on all of these deluxe editions.
Dude, Showering the Skies Above is so chunky. There's this like triplet part that they do, and the drummer's like doing these fucking massive blasts behind it. He's like, first of all, he's just going double bass pedals and then on the top, and then he just goes during these triplet parts, and it's just so much fun. I know it's a bonus track, but it's still on the deluxe edition, so you know, it counts. It counts. Anyway, that's my number 7.
No, sweet number. That is your number 7. My number 6 is Ember to Inferno. Now, I know.
No. That's just me being a fucking dick, because I don't think the album should be ranked as highly as I put it, but I love it so much. So yeah, no.
Well, this is the thing.
Because no one, I don't think many people think like me that Ember to Inferno is so good, but to me it seems so shocking because I've always thought it's a good album and I've never really heard anyone else's opinion.
Well, this is the thing. Like, to me, pretty I definitely like put in a little bit of that sentimentality into it, thing, knowing how fucking young the primary writer of the album was while making the album came into it. Because objectively speaking, you know, like they smoothed out their edges. And they managed to get a lot better at their songwriting craft and at, like, you know, like the in terms of being adept at their instruments, intensely so later on. But I rank it at that point, even though like I do think that objectively other albums are better, because as a fucking debut from a young band, it's bonkers. It's genuinely nuts how good of a record that is, considering, and it's got some brilliant tracks on it, and I think that it has some of their best choruses, like even now, like, you know, like fucking like what, like 18 years later, this still has some of their best choruses. It is an excellently written record, considering the fact that it was written by a fetus. Like, you know what I mean? It is.
Mate, you're making me harken back to when I was called a fetus all the time at the harp. I was just known as the fetus. I was literally just known as the fetus.
Well, you were the young, bright, fresh-faced little boy of everyone there. Now, everyone was only jealous of your youthful ways. That's all it was. Yeah. It was fine. So, but yeah, it is a nutty debut, and like I think this is a wicked album. Like this is where things start getting really hard to rank. I've got to say that now. Yeah. This is where things start getting really hard. I had to really think about this. But yeah, Ember to Inferno. What a good debut. It's really, really, really good. What is your number 6?
This one pains me. I hate the fact that I wound up putting it so low.
Go on.
It's an empathetic thing again. I put The Crusade at number 6. I did that. On my first list that I did before listening to all the albums all in one go, it was my number 4. But now I just realized, like, no, it doesn't need to be number 4 because there's tracks that beat it, but at the same time, I still fucking love this album. I think it's also the empathetic thing of not many people like it because of the reason that they sold out, apparently. And I think that it needs the respect it deserves. So I wanted to put it higher, and I was just like, no, shit.
You got to be true to yourself.
Yeah. And it pained me to put it this like you say, around number 6 to number 1 is where it gets. Well, number 1 wasn't hard to rank. Number 6 to number 2 is where it gets really fucking hard to rank. So yeah, my number 6 is The Crusade. I fucking love that album.
Yeah, no, and I'm just going to echo your sentiments because my number 5 is The Crusade. I genuinely think this is this is one of the most underrated albums I can think of now, because it has such a reputation as being a piece of shit, and it is so not.
Yeah,
It's
far from it.
it's a brilliant metal
It's a
record.
brilliant piece with also one of the funniest songs to listen to if you want to have a good laugh. So I mean, you know,
And that's
there's good
never a
things.
bad thing, man. It's an
No, that's what I
excellent.
mean. There's good things.
Yeah, no, and an excellent like example of a then, you know, like young band coming from a more modern take on metal, going more old school with their sound. It's a really like, they do it with conviction. They clearly have done their homework. They can play to the standards that the older bands have set, like, while not sounding as though they're just ripping off Metallica or whatever the fuck. And like, it to me is just a lazy, redundant criticism, because it sounds like Trivium, you know, taking a lot of influence from classic thrash. You know what I mean? So it's got some fucking great tracks on it. It's really varied as well. Like, there's lots of different styles going on while it's still sounding cohesive. This album's really good. You lot are mental. So that is my number 5. What is your number 5?
My number 5 is sets. That would be the sin in the sentence is my number 5.
Oh, okay.
I know it's low, but at this point you probably know where everything else is. You probably pieced it all together.
I might be able to, yeah.
I'll just let you do the rest, and you can continue talking. No, I'm just the sin in the sentence. Yeah, I mean, I don't even know what to say at this point, because I feel terrible, because I couldn't rank this any fairly. If it was really my choice, I'd probably put them all in the same league aside from Vengeance. Like,
Yeah.
every single album is that fucking good. But no, I mean, the introduction of Alex was definitely a fucking great thing to have. The riffs, the vocal melodies. I mean, it's just a good redemption album. There we go. I'll summarize it as that. It's a fucking brilliant redemption album, brother. There we go.
It definitely is. It most certainly is. I will be getting to that at some point later. What point later, I will not let you know just yet, but we will see. Next on my list, this is where things are just like, yeah. My next one is Ascendancy.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. My number 4.
Oh.
My number 4 is Ascendancy. Yeah. I know.
Bro, you're gonna make me cry. I thought you ranking Covenant was bad. Then again, I did kind of fucking beat you down, because I put Blessed of the Sick at number 6.
There you go. There you go. But yeah,
this is your revenge.
Ascendancy is my number 4. For me, this album is full of fucking youthful energy. It's such a good breakout. It, for me, like is what, there's a reason why this is like such a fucking iconic album of its era. And it manages to be modern while also being metal as shit. It's got like, yeah, the energy is always what comes through to me when I think of this album in my mind. It's got such a vibrance to it, and there's so many good riffs. It's got so many like excellent fucking scream at the sky kind of parts. It's good fun. I do love this album. In like, parts of it make me awful nostalgic too. And who doesn't like a good bit of nostalgia now and again? You know what I mean? But yeah, that's my number 4. What is your number 4?
My number 4 is What the Dead Men Say. And now you know exactly what my list is. I know.
Yeah, pretty much. But hit me with it anyway.
What the Dead Men Say, I think it's better than Sin Sentence, because they allowed Alex to go off on one, and there's blast beats, and I fucking like blast beats. This album is blast beats, double bass pedals all the way through. I'm all for like simplistic drumming, but I like speedy technical drumming, and Alex is a speedy technical drummer.
Definitely.
So
definitely.
Yeah, that's my big highlight. Some fucking death riffs in there, like I said, that's always enjoyable. Even like the calmer songs, like I said, fucking, what's it called? Scattering the Ashes. Yeah, that one. I really enjoy that one. I do enjoy that track quite a bit. The only track I say would fall down a bit is Bleed Into Me. That's because it's the same thing over and over for like 5 minutes, but it has a cool music video, right?
I haven't seen it. What's in the music video?
The music video, it's like it's a screen that goes over and over, but it's like a Mortal Kombat inspired type of thing. Because I'm
All right.
pretty sure, was it Bleed Into Me? One of these songs was used for when Spawn was introduced into Mortal Kombat 11, and I think it may have been Bleed Into Me. And
Sweet. No,
so
I'll have to hit the Google and find that out. I'll
yeah,
have to watch that.
and it's like a Mortal Kombat type thing with the four members of Trivium. So you've got one screen that has Matt chosen as the character, one screen that has Corey chosen as the character, one screen that has Paolo chosen, and one
Yeah.
screen that has Alex. And they're each in like their different fighting positions. And then after it switches to another screen where it's the girl from the Catastrophist music video, if you watch the music video for that. But it's like a 2D like Mario type thing where she's like trying to solve the puzzle and she keeps going along and along solving the puzzle, and after it goes back to the screen of Matt, Corey, Paolo, and Alex. But yeah, I fucking this album, I dig it. I kind of threw it aside when it came out because, like I said, I was getting into death metal, and I was like, yeah, I'm done with Trivium. I mean, I was listening to them for like almost a full year. So
Yeah, no, sure. You had a bit of burnout. You had to discover some other things.
yeah, and I had to discover this new intense music that I was finding out about, and then afterwards I had to really discover the band that I'll not name because I said it way too much. And so yeah, I just enjoy this album, and there you go.
No,
It's
it
a
is.
fucking
It
great
is
album. Improvement off of the Sin of the Sentence, in my opinion.
fair play. Well, my number 3 is also What the Dead Men Say.
We're very close.
Yeah, very close, very close. I think this is such an excellent fucking offering in terms of songwriting and album flow, which is always something that I appreciate as someone that does like to listen to full records. It kind of carries on what the Sin and the Sentence was kind of getting at, in that it kind of feels like an amalgamation of all of the things that they've done previously, but kind of really focused. And there's some brilliant fucking moments on there, man. I can't think of them off the top of my head because my brain's fried because I've been talking for too long. But yeah, I think this is
a glass of water. Jesus, it's been a while.
It has been.
This episode is going to be forever.
It is, but yeah, the What the Dead Men Say is it was one of the records that really for me cements them as being modern greats. Like for them to follow up their Redemption album with another Redemption album, that level of consistency is not easy to get at. But yeah, there's some brilliant stuff. The drumming, as you said, is great. There's loads of really good guitars on there, and Matt is on really good form. It's just really good, isn't it? What's your number 3, mate?
Now this is where I become really fucking hypocritical. My number 3 is Ember to Inferno.
Yes.
The thing is it might just be because I'm a youth, right? So I've got my youthful energy. So maybe I just connect more with these albums because they the 3 albums that we're going to be on about. I mean, the number 1 isn't very youthful, but this album is the youth of this band because it's the first album. It's like when we're talking.
You make a good point, yeah.
I didn't click with it, but it might just be because it's aggressive, it's fucking fast, and it's it sounds shoddily produced. And I remember hearing the demos on AB Initio of their songs, and I was like, when we used to play very close to what Trivium were doing in my band, I was like, yeah, this reminds me of what we're doing. So maybe I just still have this youthful connection towards this album of it being made by someone around the same age as me. Sure, he's 2 years older on this album than me, but I just probably connect with it more. And I just think the riffs, the songs, the melodies are fucking sick. Sure, his vocals aren't right there, but his screams are fucking bludgeoning on this album.
Yeah,
they're still very new. So his throat has got the most amount of rasp he could have, because he can still do it. Because he's kind of out of a part where he's kind of going through puberty right now. So his voice, he's not too worried about it, right? Yeah. And he hasn't done it for so long that his voice is about to fucking blow out like what Chris Barnes has done, but his has never fucking blown. Unfortunately, that man needs to fucking blow his voice. Anyway, We always turn into a Chris Barnes hate club.
Yeah, we do like to rag on that guy a little bit, don't we? But yeah, no.
Yeah, no. So that was
You do make a
Inferno,
very
my
good
number
point
3.
about the youthful energy of it maybe connecting with you because you're younger. Like, yeah, like maybe
Yeah,
because it
I
definitely.
remember when I first heard this when I was like 13 or something, right? And immediately I was just really into it. I was so fucking into this album, and maybe
I
I have a
do
bias.
because I have a certain thing with like this has a certain like kind of shoddy production Ember to Inferno that is very emblematic of
Charming.
the era.
Yeah, I think it's a charming like
Yeah,
shoddy
no,
production. It's not like black
I
metal shoddy
completely agree
production.
with you. There's a certain I really like the character it brings. It just if
Yeah,
it's the one that most it has the least amount of polish to it, but then it also is the one that just sounds like a band playing. You know what I mean? It
yeah,
sounds you know what I mean. And I always like production that sounds like that, where it's just like we're not gonna fucking clean this up. This is just a band playing. There's no like overdubs. We're not fucking like doing any recording to a grid or whatever. It just sounds raw and good. But yes, very good, very good. Ember to Inferno is your number 3. My number 2 is The Sin and the Sentence.
I mean,
Yeah,
I don't blame you. It's a good album.
to
I
me,
one of my friends says it's his favorite album, so I mean it's understandable.
yeah, to me, it's just a perfect combination for me of variety and also flow in albums because that to me is such a hard thing to pull off. Like I said before, it feels like an amalgamation, like a culmination of everything that Trivium have kind of done throughout their career and a few more things on top. And so therefore, to me, it just feels like a fucking ride. Like there's so many different, like there's so many peaks and valleys to all the different songs. I find myself constantly engaged through it. Like yeah, I fucking I love the Sin and the Sentence. It's great fun. Like there's so much like the drumming, like what that brings to those riffs is great. Like all of the like it's all very high impact, and yeah, it just has a certain euphoric energy to it, which I just can't help but be just bowled over by. I fucking love the Sin and the Sentence. It is great. What is your number 2?
My number 2, probably unsurprising now. My number 2 is definitely Ascendancy.
Yeah,
Fucking hell, I love this album. Once again, probably tied to the youthfulness of it. I mean, he's what 19 now, but still not too far away from my age, as I'm
yeah,
always told. Apparently, so 20 isn't far from my age, but that's like 5 years difference.
right, yeah,
But from a young person's perspective, because I haven't lived as long as everyone else, right? It's probably very different. I probably still think that's a long period of time. But anyway,
yeah, right. No, it speeds up. Everyone tells you
yeah,
that.
yeah.
It
But
does.
fucking uh, Ascendancy, yeah, it's still very like youthful, and it was the first album like by Trivium I actually listened to, and I say that, but then because I remembered in the middle of this recording, I was watching. I don't know if you've heard of the YouTuber called The Do with multiple O's.
I
He's
think
like a
so.
guitar
Yeah.
player. He's a really fucking good guitar player. And I was watching him like play Rocksmith with a ukulele as a joke kind of thing. And he played Strife. And I heard Strife and I was like, yeah, this sounds cool. So I put on Vengeance Falls. And Vengeance Falls was actually the first album I listened to. But obviously, I probably wasn't listening to it very much because I probably still zoned out. And then one day I was at
Yeah.
my dad's and I jumped onto Matt's Twitch stream that he does. And I was enjoying it because Matt's a fun guy, honestly, on his stream and everything. And people are nice in their chat. And I asked the chat like, "What's a good first song to learn by Trivium?" And everyone told me "Dying in Your Arms." So I immediately went and listened to it. I was like, "Yeah, I'm into this." By that point, like I said, I was into like Slipknot and Avenged Sevenfold, but I
Yeah.
still secretly sort of was in my emo phase I had just before, and I still kind of like MCR and Green Day a little bit because like those were my two favorite bands before I found Slipknot.
Fair
But
play.
now I don't listen to them. Now they're kind of a bit too whiny and annoying. But
It's all right. You're allowed to secretly listen to them when no one else is around,
shut
mate.
up, man.
It's fine.
Nah, but
No, I did a
I
little
haven't
bit of
listened
that
to
when
them
I was younger.
since.
I must admit. But
Yeah, I
yeah,
haven't
carry
listened to
on.
them since. So now for something to that, I was like, yeah, and I learned on guitar. I remember that fucking solo. I was like, that's just fun. I mean, it's not hard, but it's just fun. And then I
Yeah.
remember I listened through to the whole album, and obviously Rain's the first song, and it's like, fuck me, this is the heaviest thing I've heard. Like,
Yeah.
yes, your Slipknot can get groovy and shit, but no, 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 no. This is the heaviest thing I've heard. And then afterwards, I just wound up falling in love with that album. My
Mm.
first screams were like that I was doing were based off of like the sound that Matt was doing on there,
Yeah.
but obviously that's not probably not the best place to go from because he's not doing a very good technique. So that's probably why I might not have good technique, but I still cannot tell whether I do or not. But you know, I should probably work on it.
Yeah, no, it's certainly a bit of a journey figuring out techniques. Like, I mean, there's a few resources available now which you can look at, which
Yeah.
let you know like how to get the kind of technique where you're not going to be hurting yourself. But yeah, no, no,
Yeah, that's
definitely don't blow your
Ascendancy
voice
is my
out,
number two.
mate.
Yeah. Ascendancy is my number two. I still fucking love that album, track for track.
It is an
Yeah.
absolute rager, and I think we're going to come home on the same note, aren't we?
Yeah.
If my
We are.
calculations are not correct. The best
We'll tell
Trivium.
each our different stories though.
Yeah,
'Cause
yeah,
like
yeah,
we'll probably have different
absolutely.
thoughts.
The best Trivium album is Shogun.
No
Sometimes in
doubt.
life, I like to go against the grain, as I have with other picks on this list, and I like to have my own opinion that goes against other
Yeah,
people's.
I remember I went on Messenger. Manny was like, "Oh yeah, I kind of, I think I might be going for the basic bitch pick, but I don't want to go for the basic bitch pick. I don't want to go for the basic bitch pick." And you're like fucking having a hissy fit because you're gonna pick Shogun, and then, I mean, it's impossible to not pick Shogun.
It,
For us,
like I'm not gonna lie just so I can be Mr. Cool with his arms folded and a
yeah.
pair of sunglasses. Like, I think Silence in the
Silence in the
Snow is the
Snow
best
is
one.
Vengeance Falls. Oh yeah, Silence in the Snow would be the more controversial
Yeah,
one
yeah,
that
yeah.
you're
No, no.
right.
Sometimes in life you do have to go fully with the grain because the obvious choice is the obvious choice for a reason. Shogun is fucking brilliant, isn't it? It's just
Yeah.
there's no other album I could put at this spot than Shogun. It is their best record. It has such an excellent atmosphere and epic feel to it. There is not a bad moment on the whole album. It's everything's so well written, so entertaining. Like the solos make me happy, and I think that's the one thing that, like, for me, really puts it at the top spot is that the
It
the
has
guitar
fun
work
just
on this
listening
album
to it.
makes me
Yeah.
really genuinely happy. It gives me the epic feelies in my chest. Like, yeah, like I'd like mate, I can walk around with this in my headphones and feel like $1,000,000. And I've thoroughly enjoyed coming back to this album again. It is wicked. It's one of the best like big metal albums of its era, like easily. And it is one hell of a redemption for them coming back off of even though we've talked about the fact that the Crusade shouldn't have been shit on the way it was, but what a fucking way to announce yourself as a major presence in the world of metal. Yeah, it is their best record and it is
Yeah.
so good. And do you want to back me up here or what?
No, actually, all this time I've been fucking lying to you. Vengeance isn't my bottom one, and Shogun is, you little bitch. Vengeance is the best album. Fuck
No.
you. No, no, obviously I'm gonna pick Shogun, right? I mean, that album fucking phenomenal. Lots of my guitar chops and shit like that are taken from that because it made me want to play guitar even more. Like I said, I have a love-hate relationship trying to learn that fucking solo to Into the Mouth of Hell. And I learned it except for the tapping part. And
Yeah.
I only really got to, because normally I don't learn solos, which is probably a bad thing. When I learn a song, I usually don't learn solos because my brain, being dumb, gets really fucking bored of just sitting there trying to play the same part over and over again. And I can't stand it. Maybe that's something bad and I should probably improve on that. But because I was out in Portugal for 3 weeks, and when we're at the house, there isn't really much else to do. So I kind of just sit downstairs in the basement part and play guitar where it's nice and cool. However, though,
Mm.
I didn't get to fucking stay cool because I was definitely very hot-headed. Because half the time, like at one moment I'd have that guitar part perfectly, and then the next I'd fuck it up. And I'd just be like, "Why? My fingers are betraying me. Fuck you." You ever seen that Scottish guy who gets pissed off at his guitar and then starts like smacking his fingers
I
against the
think,
back
yeah,
of
I
the
think,
headset? Yeah, and it's like he blames it on his fingers. Yeah, I was exactly like that guy. Um, but that solo, that song, definitely like changed the way that I play guitar. The album
mm,
changed my view on like playing the guitar and stuff like that. I mean, there are other albums that I've heard that band, one singular band that has definitely changed like my view on music as a whole and how you can play the guitar. But Trivium
mm,
was like the main one that
yeah,
changed it. So, and this was the album that made me think, yeah, this is impeccable. The solo on Torn Between Sinner and Charybdis, where they go from fucking
oh,
Corey's solo, then offers Matt's, then they do a little break, then Paolo's bass solo,
oh,
then offers another fucking super fast break where it's just and then it's fucking back to Corey's solo, then back to Matt, and then Paolo does another solo where his fucking guitar sounds like a saxophone in the beginning, or like a trumpet
yeah,
rather.
yeah,
Yeah, it goes. I was like, they just straight up brung like a fucking trumpet player, but no, it's fucking Paolo's bass. So
beautiful.
that absolutely changed like the way I view solos and stuff. Not that I can rip shred and shit like that, but
It was
sorry.
formative.
Yeah, I definitely Kerry King half the time. And lots of whammy wanking.
Nothing wrong with a bit of whammy wanking, mate. Nothing wrong.
Nah, I mean Dimebag schools are fun, and Torn Between Sin and Charybdis was the one that really got me like trying to do that scream that they do when he says Torn Between Sin and Charybdis. Like I remember
Yeah.
trying that, and I was around my brother all the time because it was in Portugal, so that there's no one else to talk to. And my brother was like, "Stop doing that. It's really fucking annoying. You're terrible at it." And I was just like, "Okay, but I'm just gonna keep
Man,
doing it."
don't listen to him. Don't
Yeah,
listen to him.
I still screamed. I still wound up actually saying when I joined this band, and then totally changed it from whatever the fuck they were doing to what we wound up doing when we were very Trivium inspired. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be the vocalist because I'm the only one with the balls to do it. And I look back and I realized that I was trying way too much to sound like Matt Hafey on Ascendancy. And the way that I was doing it, it made it so it's like barely any rasp came out. Whereas now I
Mm.
feel as if I've definitely improved because I've like done more low range vocals because I realized that that's where I'm more proficient, but there's obviously room to improve. So that definitely made me improve by just not being ignorant to what I actually sounded like and not realizing that
Yeah.
I sounded very dry and there wasn't really a note coming out. And like I said, there's still room to improve. So Trivium definitely
Yeah, yeah, that's all part of the
these last two albums, Shogun and Ascendancy, shaped me as a musician, basically.
yeah. That's always a beautiful thing to hear. That's always a
Yeah.
beautiful thing to discuss. Are things
There,
which
there, there
which
is another band which has,
molded your approach.
yeah,
You know what I
there
mean?
is another band that evolved that, but I still hold Trivium to a high regard. That band may be behind me right now, but I said them way too much. So there we go.
No, no, I
There will be a
appreciate your
discography
restraint.
ranking of this. There will be a discography ranking of
Of
this.
course, there
Obviously,
will
yeah,
be a
all
discography
albums,
ranking of that other band, 100%. But yes, that has been our Trivium discography ranking. Man, what a ride! We've been like I think that needed
This
to be as
episode's
long
like,
as this was.
yeah, I remember I said our Morbid Angel one was like almost 2 hours, right? And
Yeah,
this one,
I think this is going to be clocking up
yeah,
near 3. I think
great.
so.
I think this is 3 hours. But I did think to myself, this is going to be a long one.
Well, like I'm very glad it was because you've given me an education
Yeah,
as the
even
resident
though there's
Trivium fan.
yeah, I think it's because even though there's less albums, it's probably just because I knew so much about this band and they've inspired me a lot. Whereas Morbid
No,
Angel was very fresh because lots of those albums I hadn't heard by Morbid Angel, and as well, there's a lot of them that don't have much substance in my opinion on Morbid Angel, especially Heretic and
yeah.
Illud Divinum Insanus. But yeah,
Yeah, no, no. I think, and I think this is probably a controversial opinion, but I do think Trivium's discography is more consistent. Like, I
Oh
don't
yeah, they have a
like Trivium have never dropped a fucking stinker,
yeah.
whereas
The good way to measure that is that I remember I showed my mum Trivium. My mum really fucking likes Trivium, and I've shown her quite a few songs, quite a few albums because obviously I bought them on CD and stuff. And she says
hmm,
she has not heard a single bad Trivium song. So
yeah,
someone who's not very into metal, and especially bands that use a lot of screaming,
yeah,
because that's the part that she doesn't like about it.
yeah.
Um,
Same as my
it's
dad.
obviously a testament. Yeah, it's obviously a testament as to how good they are, and especially my dad likes Slipknot, right? But he can't fucking handle Trivium. I showed him Shogun and he couldn't handle it. So obviously my mum's just cooler than him, obviously. But yeah,
Big up to all the cool mums out there. Well,
yeah.
like killing it, killing it. But yeah, no, Trivium. This has been enlightening for me actually, being able to listen to all their records. I definitely have a newfound
Yeah.
appreciation for what they do, and I will definitely be
I
coming
just
back to
enjoy
some of these.
myself.
No, no, no.
There's a lot of differentiation, unlike in Morbid Angel, but we will probably be doing mainly death metal bands because that is I'd like to say our favorite genre, but you're probably more of a doom guy, aren't you?
I mean, it depends on what week you ask me on.
Oh yeah, true.
I mean, in the last couple of years, I've had a big awakening to black metal, and I like historically I've liked a lot of doom, but I grew up listening to a lot of death metal, and that death metal is very
Yeah,
formative for me personally. Like I listened to that, really like took me to the fucking fringe of like, oh, okay, I like things played with a ridiculous amount of aggression. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
and that's still the thing which I like
yeah.
most in
So
music is things played with aggression.
this band definitely has that aggression, but there's a lot of parts where it's a breath of fresh air. So that
Yeah,
was
no,
our
and this
Trivium
has
album
they have
ranking.
been a breath of fresh air to listen to a lot of like
Mm,
metal with a lot of clean singing is something I like doing a lot these days. Because it's like, man, I love vocal melodies, I love big vocal hooks, and Trivium are really fucking good at them. But alas, I do think now is the time to wrap up. This has
yeah,
been this has been a journey. It has been a fucking delve into a very, very good discography. But I must say, I probably won't listen to Trivium again for a month after absolutely
I
like
will because I still love these guys. Come on.
oh, they're brilliant. I have a newfound appreciation, but I will thoroughly enjoy listening to anything other than Trivium for at least a week. But this has been great fun. Yeah, like I'm
Yeah,
I'm off to go and make myself something to eat. 'Cause I'm quite hungry
I'm
and
gonna
listen
warm
to
my food
some.
up and drink some water because my throat is shot. Jesus.
Yeah, like beans and water. That's a good
Yeah.
supper.
Did I say beans? I don't know. Yeah, sure. Yeah, beans. Sorry, I only eat beans.
Yeah, no, we
You
only
fuck
eat
us.
beans. All other food is unmetal and bad.
Yeah, eating
But
meat's bad. It's not metal.
oh, I mean, being a carnivore is a little bit metal, mate. You're eating dead things.
Yeah.
Let's not kid ourselves. But this is all semantics. This has been a pleasure. I will see all you guys next week. Give us your thoughts and opinions on Trivium
Yeah, if
and
there
how we
are any
rank them.
metalhead watchers yet, Jesus Christ, where are you people?
Yeah, get on it. Tell us your Trivium album rankings. Tell me and Sean what
And
you reckon, and let us
if you think
know.
they suck, tell us they suck, and we'll fucking beat you in the comments. I'm only joking. Just
Yeah,
tell us they
we'll,
suck.
we'll have some fun with that too. But for
Yeah.
now, until next week, go and eat some beans.
Beans, stay brutal on that. Goodbye, brutal beanie boys.
Beans.